welcome back everyone, welcome back to another day, to the final day here of the 2025 Kung Fu Cup November Finals. Day number 5. Oh, I tried to fix that. Day number 5 here, not day number 4, with the final day of the KFC. It has been a very intense week of StarCraft, covering this event day after day after day. 5 days of Kung Fu Cup action, and now we're here to crown our champion. Oh, the final day, here we go. As we switch our scenes over to catch up on the bracket itself. Now, I do highly recommend checking out the VODs. We had some very intense, very chaotic, and very entertaining matches, of course, throughout the entirety of the event. All the VODs are over on YouTube, of course, over on YouTube, and temporarily over on Twitch as well. We did go from the top. From the very top here, we had Reynor. Reynor, he popped off in the ZBT matchup, took down herO. He was able to take down KungFu in the upper bracket finals 4-0. He took down a Showtime barely 3-2 as well in the ZVP, and we have Reynor advancing all the way to the grand finals, where he is waiting for his final opponent in the best of 7. Oh boy. He is waiting. He's lying in wait. Meanwhile, scrolling down, we do have the lower bracket, and a player has been working his way through the entirety of that lower bracket. Initially, herO took down herO 2-1, did knock him down in the first round, but it is a double elimination tournament, double elimination bracket. So as a result, we do have a herO fighting his way back up. He took down Solar 3-2, took down a Showtime 3-1, took down a Classic 3-1 as well, and has made his way all the way to the lower bracket finals. And we'll see if he can bring down KungFu and look to face off against Reynor. We'll see if KungFu can once again repeat and bring down herO. Remember, KungFu, he was the original player that knocked him down to lower bracket. Can he do it again? Can he do it again? Here we go. So here tonight we do have two best of sevens. The first one here is going to be the lower bracket finals. Then we follow that into the grand finals. This is where we crown our champion. Once again, a big shout to SC Boy, and the Chinese community for actually hosting and for running the event. Kung Fu Cup has been around for a very, very long time, for many, many years, but always does kind of come back with a different kind of flair, with a different kind of format. Before this, it was a weekly tournament alongside WTL. Now it has returned as more of a monthly, or even before, and then after that, it came back as like a bi-weekly SC Evo, and then Warcraft 3 Evolution as well. If you recall, we were covering those events, and now it has returned as a monthly tournament. We had one for September, October, now we have one for November, and we should be having one for December as well, as we near the end of the year and that final month of 2025. Oh boy. So we should have another one coming into December as well. For now though, again, we do have our next series. It is going to be that TVZ between KungFu and herO. Oh boy. Game 1 is going to be on Mothership as we load on in. As we do so, a big shout out to Complete Noob in the chat. Este Complete. Thank you so much for subscribing for 22 months, almost 2 years of support. Thank you, Papi. Thank you. It's been crazy just how long the support has been. We appreciate it as always, and I hope you enjoy the content, hope you enjoy the casting, hope you enjoy the StarCraft as we are jumping into Game 1 and spawning in the top left hand corner of Mothership. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is KungFu. And spawning in the bottom side of Mothership, we have the South Green Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing T1. It is herO. We go. We're getting into our TVP. Now, when it comes to Terran versus Protoss, it is a matchup that has been in flux as of late. We bring this up quite a bit here, but TVP has been shifting in meta throughout the entirety of the year. It's gone through so many metas, so many different tendencies, so many different styles, and we are landing in a really interesting place. I will say that for the most part, the ladder map pool doesn't really favor longer and later games for Terran at the moment. A lot of these maps, like Mothership, for example, are very open. Very open. So we have our natural, we have our third base, we have our fourth base. As you can see, we have a massive entrance into the fourth location, into the southern base location. Likewise, we have a massive entrance here in towards the third base. The center base is also much more exposed, much more vulnerable, and it can be difficult to turtle up on 4 bases as a Terran player in this matchup. So far, double gas, interesting. Double gas opener into a faster factory, into a delayed TC. But yeah, a lot of these maps in this map pool, it is quite difficult to try to turtle up and get into that kind of strong mid to late game composition, referring to Terran players turtling up and getting into Liberators, getting into Ghost Production, getting into Bio Marauder, and excelling in the mid game. And that is easier to achieve on some of the more defensive maps. I'm thinking of Celestial Enclave, I'm thinking of Winter Madness. I'm thinking of White Rabbit, for example. Like, there are certain maps that are more defendable and you can pull that off on, but they're few and far between. I would say there's like, what, 2 to 3 maps that favor that kind of style. The others are much more exposed, much more aggressive, and as a result, we often do see Terran players going for all-ins on Mothership. We have seen some Terran players like Bjorn attempt to play macro on this map, attempt and struggle, so we're expecting hyper-aggression out of Cure. Meanwhile, herO back at home, we're seeing a standard opener so far. Seeing standard opener. Because there's a higher chance that Cure is going for an all-in, we should be seeing some safer play out of herO, or potentially more aggressive play, so we'll keep an eye on him, but we expect to see additional gateways. Meanwhile, Reactor Reaper Hellion, I'm assuming here, yep, Reactor Reaper Hellion out of Cure, so we have a much more aggressive start. The goal here is to get economic damage, is to try to rush into a mineral line, rush past, and try to wreak havoc with that Reaper Hellion, specifically by killing probes. Let's go. So we're rallying across the map, bearing in mind that this is a 3-player spawn map as well, so Cure he is looking for herO, whether it's top side or bottom side. We'll see where he does check first. And he's checking top side. So Reaper Hellion is going to be heading on over. At the same time, herO is setting up back at home, going for a Twilight Council into Blink. So standard opener here out of herO. Going into Stargate play, I do expect to see Stargate play at some point in this series, multiple times in this series as well, but typically it's more viable to do so on larger maps. This is a large map, yes, I should say on more defensive maps. Hallucination checks up right. Cure, he's now aware of herO's location. He rallies towards the south side. And he's got 4 Reapers and 2 Hellions. So far, so good. A decent chunk of army here. And once again, the goal here is to get economic damage. Reapers, they bust into the main base. At the same time, Hellions towards the natural. Reapers, they... Oh, there's a shield battery. Okay, safety shield battery in the mineral line. 1 Reaper goes down. Up. 1 Reaper does go down. Hellions, they do get in. The probes are lighting up. Oh, do line up for a moment. Secure looking for a way in, but he is denied. So far so good. Solid defense here by herO. herO didn't lose anything. Not a single worker went down. He was denied some mining time here at the natural, but that's all the real damage that was dealt. herO holds. He does hold on. Now what's important is that this Reaper Hellion is still alive, so you can still use it to threaten bases, get some scouting, and still dive into a mineral line like this. 1 probe. 1 probe goes down. Finally some damage. Ideally you want more than this, but you know there's still potential for damage here. Meanwhile, oh, we're just rallying. Yeah, it's an all-in. So we're going for an all-in here. We're rallying Marines, rallying the medevac, rallying tanks, and rallying Vikings, more importantly. These Vikings do add a lot of DPS here to the all-in. You land them, and they do so much damage to gateway-based units as well. So again, Curie's just rallying everything across the map, and it's going to be on herO to keep up, as herO, he failed. Sorry, he does get the move out. Yeah, he does spot it. herO spots what's going on. Behind this, 1 shield battery. Charge is not yet done. He's getting extra gateways, getting a rover, but is it too late? As herO was not able to slow this down ahead of time. Oh, okay, went into charge, no blink, of course. So he has to build up those zealots. With enough zealots, he should break through. He's going for it. Yeah, he's going for the dive. He wants that tank, and he will get it. Yeah, he will get the tank. Tank does go down. Nice read here by herO going for charge. And with that herO, he would completely shut down the all-in. Another medevac. Oh, Udomas. Oh my god, medevac gets sniped. The Viking was too little too late. I kind of glossed over it, but winding back here when it comes to the build of choice, he did go into charge, not blink. Going into charge first in PvT is ideal to shut down tank all-ins. Whether it's this kind of all-in, whether it's a bit of a later timing instead on proper 2-base saturation, charge is just a really good way to just get on top of those Marines, get on top of the tanks, and shut them down, especially because medevac production is so limited here this early on. So here he shuts down the initial all-in, doesn't have enough to counterattack, but has gained map control and momentum, and now Cure is in a really rough position. Now he's at least still building up his units. He still retained the Vikings. We have more Vikings on the way as well, by the way. Oh, here he still wants those tanks though. No bunker. Yeah, no safety bunker. Viking goes down, and you can see those zealots just tear through the Marines. They tear through the tanks as well. As another tank goes down, that's going to be 3 dead tanks. And he was just going for the kill. Yeah, he's going for the kill. He's just not allowing Cure to reinforce, to recover, and herO takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, a solid read here out of herO, winding it back. If herO went into charge, and if we saw a standard opener out of herO, then herO would fall behind. Again, imagine if herO just, you know, goes into drop play, goes into Widowmine drop harass, into Banshee harass instead, building up into a third base, then rushing into charge that early on doesn't achieve anything, because hey, you can't defend with that against those kind of air-based units. That's where Blink Stalkers or Phoenixes come into play to shut down Banshees, Widowmine drops, Raven harass, for example, regular drop play, and that wasn't really factoring in because it was a tank all in, right? It was a tank all in out of herO. So again, a solid read out of herO. GG, well played. Whew. And herO takes the first game, and now we're rushing into game number 2. Again, as you mentioned, there was a higher chance for herO to go for an all-in on Mothership. As we mentioned, is a very difficult map to macro on. And now we're going to be loading into... on Mothership, and now we're going to be loading into Tourmaline, and here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tourmaline. We have the South Korean Terran player, we have the blue Terran, representing Team Liquid, down in the series. We'll see if we can bounce back. It is herO. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss player, the South Korean Protoss, representing T1, getting proxied. It is herO. Yeah, I see the camera, but here we go. So we have the SCV moving in, and we're setting up for the proxy racks here outside of the third location. Now, what I was going to say is that Tourmaline is one of those maps that does favor all-ins. This map, it has a very open third base, it has a very open natural as well, so aggression and all-ins are favored on this map, but herO, he's going for an early proxy instead. I'm curious to see how hard he commits to this, whether he goes into a tech lab, into Marauder production, or just Reapers. Based on the rally, it looks like just proxy Reaper. So not the most committed proxy here, only 1 racks, there's no second racks. So an aggressive start is designed to give herO a bit of an edge early on. And we'll see if he does take it. We're now saturating that gas geyser, rallying into the main. Let's rally in. So far, here comes that Reaper, as I did mention. And back at home, we just have a standard open out of herO. herO, he should be going for another safe build. He might be tempted to open up charge again, but I don't know if I like the idea of doing that 2 games in a row. It might just be better to go into Blink, but go into a higher gateway count. This is where mind games come into play. herO confirms the factory. He knows that a Rax is missing. A bunker gets thrown down, and herO is getting ready. Scrotuing out that Stalker. Reaper into the main. It's on herO to micro back his probes. Nicely done. He does pull back his weakened workers. Ooh, so lose 1. Yeah, 1 probe goes down. Just 1 worker. The bunker will finish. Shield battery is on the way. Oh! Ooh, gets a second probe. Does get a second worker. Nice pick up here out of Cure. Meanwhile, we have a second Reaper into the main base, and herO is being pulled apart a little bit here. Losing 2 probes already, and will he lose 3? Oh! Yeah, not quite. Not quite. Shield battery is finishing up, and herO can now focus down the bunker. Now focuses down. Ooh, SCV does fall. Bit miscontrol that there out of Cure. Slows away the Reaper. And that'll be a kill. That'll be a kill on the bunker. Ooh, Reaper gets another probe. And on the one hand, this is going to be dealt with. On the other hand, quickly checking here, 4 probes that go down. 4 probes for a Reaper, for a bunker, for an SCV. A bit of a back and forth. He also forced out a shield battery and forced out the chrono on the Stalker as well. It has some damage. Oh, behind this is a brutal supply block. Yeah, brutal supply block here for herO. He's getting into his own tank production. Very early tanks here. Looks to be for early drop play as well. Okay. Let's go. Este herO. And we have a Stargate opener out of herO. This is a bold move. I did mention previously that I would expect to see Stargate play in this series, but I expected on Celestial Enclave, or on Winter Madness, or on White Rabbit. I expected on one of the larger maps. To go for it here on Tourmaline, this is risky. This is very risky here. When it comes to going, it's gonna work out actually. So the hallucination did scout and did confirm Banshee play or Raven play. Regardless whether it's Banshee or Ravens, that is where Phoenixes can excel. I was going to say that against specifically tank pushes and tank all-ins, I'm thinking of tanks with Marines, with Viking production, similar to last game actually, very similar to last game. If we had that kind of build, then Phoenixes would struggle, just because sure, they can lift up the tank, but there's going to be so much anti-air alongside it to zone away the Phoenixes and to render them inert. And that means because you went for a Phoenix, because you went for Stargate play, you have no charge, you have no blink, you have no real Gateway Army support for your Phoenixes, and you can just topple over to an all-in. So again, this kind of build, this kind of opener is very vulnerable to all-ins, but Kira, he's going into Banshee play, he's making upgrades, getting into Stim, he's going for a later move out, which means that here he should be able to get away with his Phoenixes. As Hero gets a third, he's moving out. So far, he has 3 Phoenixes, and there thankfully is a bunker. Here, he can try to lift the tank in the Cyclone. But he does see the bunker, and he will back off. Hero pulls away. Banshee's making his way across the map. The Phoenixes have yet to reveal themselves. But he can... I mean, remember, he has no blink, but he does get the Cyclone. Okay. Cyclone. Going for the natural, going for the tank. And can he start to step in? Yeah, master repair on the tank, and the repairs are good enough. Yeah, that was not worth of a hero, leaving out a lot of stalkers. At the same time, Banshee into the main base as Rico back home, and 3 probes are going down. Again, this should not have happened, but here was overly aggressive, and that is 5 probes to the Banshee. Nice damage at a cure. Nice damage overall. He was able to kill 2 stalkers here as he tried to break that natural. And Kira, he is stabilizing on 2 bases. Getting into Stim. Stim is almost done. Now the question is, once Stim finishes, once Combat Shields finishes, do we commit? How many tanks are we going to have though? Only 1? 2. 2 tanks. I don't think this is quite enough here. Not on 2 bases. So I feel like there's a higher chance that Kira gets a third. Speaking of, Hero is getting his own pay, working towards Colossus. Let's find some SCVs at least. Nicely done. Does get some more value out of these Phoenixes. Here comes the move out. Remember, it's only 2 tanks. And ideally, Hero wants to try to slow this down for his Colossi. Security just rallies everything across. Ooh, Woodermine gets picked up. Let's get a Phoenix, but again, this is slowing down the push. Colossus is almost done. Hero just needs a little bit more time. Oof, catching the medevac. Medevac takes a lot of hits, forcing out a Stim. Here, he just wants to push across the map. Oh. And Here's done it. Here, he's done it. The Colossus has arrived. He's bought enough time, and I don't see this army really pushing in. Not against a Colossus. Not like this. Security, he's still rallying. Still rallying forward. Go, jump into the main base. Oh. Again, only 1 Colossus to defend. There's 2 shield batteries. And Hero is late to engage. No charge. We got the slow bots waddling in. He's trying. He's trying to get on top of those tanks. It's going to be a brutal fight here. Phoenixes, they finally do rock up. They lift one of the tanks. Medevacs will go down. And with the second Colossus here, he might... he doesn't have enough. Yeah, not enough support. Colossus are going down, and Cure, he's done it. He's breaking the natural. He's breaking on through again. Charge is just barely not done in time. It's still not done. Ah, no. Ah, now he has second Colossus. Okay. 2 Colossi, charge finishing up in 7 seconds. Here needs time for extra warp-ins. Yeah, speaking of, you can see his low gateway count. Trying to spend his money. Trying to warp in. These Colossus is still very exposed. There's only one tank. So the main fight here can still lift. And Cure backs off. Yeah, as Cure pulls away. I mean, there was definitely an opening here. That was very close. That was very close, very clutch. Cure, he almost just straight up ended the game. It was so close. But we're macroing out of this. Third TC's getting up and running. We have the Academy on the way as well. Cure, he's taking up. And we are embracing a longer game state. Now, I'm a little bit concerned here. We spoke about this previously, but this map does favor aggression, or maybe a better way of putting it is that the map is difficult to defend on. Whether it's the natural base or the third base as well, it is difficult to really claim a fourth base, and that means that this is going to favor whoever has map control. That's what matters most here. Whoever has map control will be able to contain and just snowball from there and just take a massive lead. Here, he's still battered, he's still bruised, he's still building up. But if Cure starts throwing down sensor towers and missile turrets, then I'm going to have to favor herO. We'll see. Yep, 4th CC. 4th CC is on the way. Cure is going to try to turtle up. Now, the one upside here for Tourmaline is that if he is able to successfully get up to 4 bases and max out, then the time it takes to get across the map is very short. So you can try to leverage that very quickly to end the game, before herO can rebuild his army if he takes a better fight. Oh. Meanwhile, second Robo. Disruptor production's underway. Building up into disruptors. So players are still saturating. And despite the very aggressive, very chaotic start here, we're just slowing the game down. We're building up on 4 bases. herO, he's going to be the first to max out, but Cure isn't too far behind supply-wise. And we'll see who can gain that map control. First time being, both players just more concerned with just building up and stabilizing. In a head-on fight, I do favor Cure's army. He's maxed. He has yet to really perfect his army, so there's no fusion core, there's no there's no third starport, there's no liberator production. So the army's not exactly there yet. He does have a lot of Vikings at least, but his we'll see how well these Novas can connect. So far we have 5, soon to be 6 disruptors. And Storm. It's not an easy army to control for herO. Not easy. Disruptors, Storm, some maneuvers Colossus as well. Cure does move out. He is spotted. He's moving forward. He does have those 5 disruptors. First Nova goes up, zones away. Army coming in from behind, coming in with the surround. And the Novas, they will connect. Ooh, I say that, nice splits out of Cure. He splits well, and Cure, he will overwhelm. He overwhelms here. Here, he was a little bit trigger happy. The Novas, they all clumped up in one spot, and Cure, he avoided the Novas. He avoided the Novas. Cure, he can snowball from here. Very nice splits. Once again, the splits, pappy. We got one good connection towards the end, but it's too little too late. Too little too late. Cure, he wins one big fight, and from here, just snowballing out of control, breaks the base, and he can just keep going for the kill. We mentioned this previously, but the rush distance by ground is very short in this map, so once you start pushing, you do not stop. You don't stop. Stimming on forward, straight into the natural. Other Nova will not connect, gets focused down. And we have a series. We have a series here. Cure, he breaks that natural base, takes out both Robos, no more Colossus, no more Disruptors. And again, we had a very aesthetically pleasing surround out of Cure, but out of herO. But as we mentioned here, all the Novas, they all just converge into one location. Cure, he was able to split, able to avoid. GG gets called, and Cure, he ties up the series 1-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Cure does tie things up, and we have our back and forth. We have a series. Let's go. Let us go. Once again, herO, he barely did survive the initial push. It was quite intense, quite close. But as we mentioned, when it came to the main armies, I did favor Cure as he was able to build up his Mass Viking, his Mass Ghost, his Mass Bio. herO had a really interesting setup with the surround, but had a very lackluster execution when it came to the attack itself. So herO did miss control. He was very trigger happy. He sent out all the Novas into one location. That meant that once they whiffed, I mean, that was game. That was game then and there. So GG, well played. With that, we're now getting into game number 3, and we'll see who takes the lead from here. Let's go. Let us go. And spawning in the opponent hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran. Oh, representing Team Liquid, it is Cure. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing T1. It is herO. We go. So we have a series, we have a back and forth. The Cure last game did open up with his initial proxy, was able to get some damage early on, but more importantly was able to hit that stim timing, was able to break that natural initially, gain momentum, preserve his army, and build up from there. But now we're loading into a much larger map. So because the map is so large, because of the rush distance, it does mean that there's less of a chance for the game to end so suddenly. All-ins and aggression is going to be less favored here, and we're expecting to see a longer game. Now, White Rabbit is more defendable than any other map we've seen so far, so it does have a much more secure 4-base and 5-base setup, so we can see Cure hunker down and try to build up into a similar kind of game state as last game. But now, double gas. Double gas, faster factory. We'll see what kind of style Cure goes for. But going to like Widowmine drops, Banshee harass, Raven harass, that kind of play is more viable here. So the probe does take a lot of hits. Barely does make it out. Oh, as the probe does fall. So nice pickoff. Kills the probe. Behind this is a lower chance that herO does open up charge. So we should be expecting a blink base opener instead. Or we could see Phoenixes again. True. Wouldn't be opposed to Stargate play. Maybe not 2 games in a row, but we'll see. here we go. It is going to be that Stargate opener, and again, this makes a little more sense. One of the reasons why herO had such a difficult defense last game as well was his lack of charge, if you remember, and why was charge so delayed? Because of the Stargate, because of the Phoenix. So a lot of it did come down to the openers as well, as KungFu was able to punish the Stargate opener of herO in game number 2. Here we have a Stargate opener, but as I mentioned in the beginning of game 2, it is safer to go Stargate on White Rabbit. Is safer. KungFu failed to scout, did not get into the main. So far here he's shading into the main base. He's going for the Reaper. Gets one. And he wants the other. Does get it. 2 Reapers do fall, shades out, and does escape. So not bad. Behind this herO opening up Oracle, not Phoenix, okay. Going for economic damage instead. Rushing into economic damage. Oracle's on the way. KungFu following this up with a Hellion drop, okay. Hellions are amassing. As Oracle arrives, takes down Marine. Where is the anti-air? Non-existent. Yeah, there's no anti-air here. We have Viking on the way, delayed tech lab, no Cyclone, SCVs are getting picked up, and this comes down to lack of scouting. KungFu, he did not scout the Stargate. More SCVs going to be going down, and this is already becoming too much. 8, 9, 10. As the Oracle finally runs out of energy, 10 SCV kills. 10 SCVs, Marine, and a Hellion. And KungFu, he's committed. He has to find some damage across the map. He's going for the drop. And remember, herO, he saw the medevac. He knows. He saw the medevac back. One Hellion gets in. And won't get any kills. No damage in the main. KungFu, he's in a brutal position here. Oh no, the medevac's getting caught out as well. Forced to boost away. Lockman is broken. KungFu is trying to hold his own. Behind this down to 27 SCVs. Again, barely an economy here for KungFu. Sphinx, they do bust in. Yeah, they bust into the main base. They do get a Cyclone. They get a Viking as well. Nice pickups. Nice Oracle does poke in. And here is just getting comfortable. From here, he can just saturate his third base, build up. We have charge on the way. We have +1 on the way. What we're really lacking here is splash damage, whether it's Storm, whether it's Colossus. Like, here should be working towards that soon. Nice revelation. He gets eyes on the move out. And KungFu, do we pull the boys with this? I mean, there's barely anything to pull. There's barely anything here. And KungFu's going for a later stim timing. So he's stuck at home. Until then, he is stuck. And here he's even going for the dive. A little bit premature is what I will say, but he does get the Vikings, does go for the tank. The tank should go down. And we trade well against the SCVs. Yeah, 9 SCVs going down. We have reinforcements trickling in as well. Tank will fall. One more volley. And even with KungFu surviving this, even if he barely does hold on, he barely has anything left. They're down to 6 Marines. He holds on that, he does hold. But behind this, he will lose 18 SCVs, the tanks, the everything. He was going for a 2-base all-in. You can see here with the 2 extra Raxes. The hidden Raxes behind the middle line. This is indicative of a 2-base all-in, but he just couldn't really get there. Just a really rough start. And GG gets called. herO will take a lead in the series, 2-1. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Again, this came down to the opener, the Stargate opener into the Oracle. If you remember, KungFu had a moment when he dipped into the main base, but he did not scout behind the mineral line. He didn't scout the main base particularly well. He was zoned away, right? He was zoned away, he was deflected, and KungFu failed to scout the tech. He didn't realize there was a Stargate on the way, so because of that, there was no defensive Viking, there was no defensive Cyclone either. There was, I think, only 1 or 2 Marines, so the anti-air was very, very limited there for KungFu. He had no idea what was going on, and instead he was going for his own Hellion drop, if you remember. He was going for a reactor Hellion medevac drop across the map. As a result, when the Oracle arrived, it did end the game. Did end the game then and there. He got, what was it, 10 SCVs. 10 SCVs at the start of the game. That was brutal. And the Oracle, I mean, survived as well. We could still find some more damage. Went to pieces. GG. GG, well played. So a rough start there for KungFu. And now we're loading into another one of these larger maps. We're loading into Celestial Enclave. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Celestial Enclave, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is KungFu. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing T1. It is herO. Here we go. As we are getting into game number 4. And coming into this, welcome to Celestial Enclave. Celestial Enclave is another one of these larger maps. So this is honestly another good map for Stargate play again. So if we open up Oracle, open up Phoenix, like that kind of play is going to be more viable here once again on Celestial Enclave. KungFu, it looks like he wants to go CC first. Okay. I'm reminded of the blind like 4-gate setup that we saw previously. Out of Skilless if you recall. That was over the weekend during Sparkling Tunic Cup. I would be a way to punish. But regardless, KungFu, he's cutting corners, going CC first into the pocket base. I mean, this is a game of greed. We do have our pocket expansion. We have our natural that's very secure as well. You have a very, very secure kind of 2.5 base setup, bearing in mind that the pocket base is half an expansion with less mineral patches and with only 1 gas geyser. The 4th base is more open, but because of how defendable your 3 bases are, you can just like sit your main army at the 4th base and be fine. So building up to 4 bases is relatively straightforward here on Celestial Enclave. This is why we do expect to see either herO cutting corners or opening up Stargate play again. What's it gonna be? I said this before, I'll say it again. I'm not too fond of the idea of playing Stargate 2 games in a row. What worked quite well on White Rabbits, but I feel like that surprise factor is now gone. So KungFu even opens up Reactor first. Oh, Reactor first into a faster second Rax into a factory. We have the setup here for a 2-1-1. Okay. No faster at CC. There's no like 3 CC3 racks or anything like that. KungFu, he is known for playing mech, at least in some of these other maps, especially Pylon, for example. Mech is not going to be a factor here, but definitely something to bear in mind for the rest of the series. My brain suddenly just went to a like 1-1-1 faster Banshee play for some reason. I don't. But yeah, 2-1-1. Attack grab on the factory. There's the starports. This is going to be quite interesting. It's going to hit quite hard. It's going to be a blink-based opener out of herO. herO throws down 2 extra gateways. herO is playing very safe. Very, very safe here. Going blink and building up to 3 gates before expanding. Even going for a robo as well. So very safe play out of herO. Meanwhile, Cure, yep, he's going for his 2-on-1 sim timing. This is a build that is typically reserved for ZVT. We see the lot against Zerg. It is a bit of a rarer build against Protoss. Now, the downside of this sim timing, of course, is that the tank count is going to be lower. But we did get a fast tech lab on that factory, so you have my attention. Now, this safe build here to here is going to actually work quite well. There's going to be a decent chunk of Stalkers, potential for Immortal production, or at least the Observer. We'll see if Hero can keep up. As we are getting, Jesus, we're getting extra Raxes here. This does feel like a 2-base all-in. So very committed, very aggressive, very early stim. The scariest moment here for herO is that he needs to scout the move out. He does have one Adept in position, but he needs map control. Here he does move out. Here he has potential to counterattack as the army pushes. Remember, there is an opening into the natural, but we have Cure in position. Step shades, spots the tanks. Get shut down. Hero diving into the natural. Ooh, the army's in position. Hero, nice juggling. Does kite back. Yeah, kite's back, but here he has to get out of here. He cannot fight head on. So far, nice juggling. And he blinks away. Wow, Hero doesn't lose a single Stalker. Very impressive. Yeah, clean micro there. Hero doesn't lose anything. Security does rotate, does send out his drops. The Observer should have seen that. Yeah, he's going for the dive. The tanks are exposed. He gets one. One tank goes down. The add-on as well, denying combat shields. And the boys are being pulled. Curie's getting desperate. He's getting desperate here, and he will force the army out. And do we get the recall? And does he recall back home? Does he commit in? Here he has a shield battery. We need warpins. Again, here he should recognize that the army is missing. And Kira gets in. The recall is late. So late recall, shield battery goes down. Does for example, Stalkers gets 1, 2, 3 Stalkers, 4 Stalkers go down instantly. Jesus. Sure, he does get some decent damage here. 7 probes. Another Stalker. Yeah, 7 probes and 6 Stalkers go down. Jesus. Crazy damage out of Cure. So we have a bit of a back and forth. On the one hand, yes, here he was able to pick up some tanks, but remember, this is the setup for what looks to be a 2-base all-in. 2-base all-in. These 3 Raxes have no add-ons. No add-ons here, so that is indicative of an all-in. The boys are being pulled, and it's all or nothing for Cure. The boys run into the SC. They run into the Stalkers. They run in. No. Yeah, Stalkers are diving into the natural. Curie turns everything back around. Remember, he's all in. He's meant to be across the map. He's second guessing himself. Yeah, a little bit indecisive. Curie turns around. He pulls back. Curie's all in is late, as the boys have arrived. And here, once again, is being active to slow this down. It's being proactive. Ooh, gets a medevac, gets 1, gets 2. 2 medevacs go down. Every stim is going to hurt that much more. Charge is complete. Yeah, he's fine. Here, he's fine. He's got the Immortal, Charge, Mass Blink Stalker. He's diving in, going for the tanks, blinks forward. Gets 1, gets 2, both tanks go down, and without tanks, this army just doesn't really have much left. Down to a handful of Marines. Stalkers, they chase them down. We just warp in, we just reinforce. And again, it was a very intense game, and Curie had its own moments, so GG gets called, and herO will extend his lead 3-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played here. He does extend his lead here. Again, very safe play at a herO and a very good call. Remember, what did herO go for? He went 3-gate blink. 3-gate blink with a robo on 2 bases, delaying his 3rd base for extra stalkers and extra army. Meanwhile, Kure went for a CC first into a 2-1-1 into a 5-rack setup, right? It was either 5 or 4. It was 5. It was 5 axes. Going for the 2-base all-in. It was imperative that herO was active though. Here he was sniping tanks, he was sniping add-ons, he was picking off SCVs, and he was slowing down Kure. And every second that passed, it meant that the all-in was weaker, right? When it comes to these all-ins, like, they're usually really refined and they come down to the wire. Like, they're typically very well thought out. And if you miss your window, if you miss your timing, then, I mean, the all-in fails, right? Like, it's all about breaking your opponent as early as possible before they're ready for it. But here, he was able to scout to the move out. If you remember, the observer in the main base saw the tanks were exposed, so he blinked in, snipes the tanks, picks off more marines. At the same time, very fortunate that he just ran into the SCVs as well, so he kills more SCVs. He forced Kure to turn back around. The drop into the main base was really good, that is true, but wasn't good enough. Was not good enough there for Kure. GG, well played. And with that herO, he does extend his lead, and now we're loading into Taito Citadel. Oh boy. Let's go. We're loading into Taito. And again, I'm a little bit surprised that Kure decided to go for the all-in, specifically on Celestial. We spoke about how it favors greedier play, but that's where mind games come into play, right? I'm sure that Kure was maybe hoping that herO would cut corners, was hoping that herO would be greedy and then punish that greed. But alas, that wasn't the case. That was not the case. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Taito Citadel. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. Down in the series, he has to fight back here and now to make a series out of this, and to extend the series, it is Kure. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the red Protoss for T1. 1 game away from claiming the series, it is herO. We go. Fun fact, I believe, especially when it comes to when it comes to Kure's 2-1-1, and I think the plan was to try to hard counter a Stargate opener. That makes sense in my mind. And if you remember, we were discussing at the time, as herO moves out, we were discussing the idea of going Stargate on Celestial, and I was talking about how, like, Stargate play makes a lot of sense on Celestial, but I wasn't fond of the idea because we just played Stargate on White Rabbit, right, on the game previous to that. So I didn't quite like the idea of going into Stargate play 2 games in a row. Thankfully, herO didn't. herO went for a very safe build instead, so he also felt like he was maybe vulnerable to a hard counter from his opponent, something more aggressive. So herO played it safe, and Kure, his 2-on-1, is designed to hard counter a Stargate opener, right? Oracles, Phoenixes, just because you have so much anti-air, and you can punish your opponent for delaying their charge and delaying their blink. But alas, you know, herO went for a safe build instead, and herO came out on top. Here's being as annoying as possible. It does delay quite heavily, actually. That was like, what, a 5:35 mineral CC timing? Jesus. So nice delay. Meanwhile, welcome to Taito. Taito Citadel is an interesting map. I still have a really hard time placing this map, to be honest. It is large, it has a long rush distance, but the bases are really spread out. The 3rd base, the 4th base, like the bases are very spread out here, so we have seen players struggle to be defensive in longer games. Is Kure tempted to go into a longer game? I wouldn't be too opposed to it here, but we'll see. For now, Twilight Council. Twilight Council opener out of herO, opening up Blink. Catching up in the chat. Thank este burrito in the chat. Gracias, papi, gracias. I appreciate the kind words. Love your cast. You're great. Keep it up. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate the kind words. Glad you enjoyed the content. Glad you enjoyed the StarCraft. Gracias, papi. Gracias. So players are building up. We have Kure going for his 1-1-1. This time there's no big commitment into Reactor Reaper Hellion. So no big commitments. herO once again throws down 2 more gateways, and he's going into 3-gate blink into a robo. For those that are curious, this is the same build, the same opener that we saw last game. It's very safe. It's just a very safe way of playing. Technically, there are stronger ways to try to build up and hard counter it all in, like a charge-based opener, but overall this is just very safe. Allows you to have blink, allows you to build up a decent stalker count, and to gain map control. And then you expand behind it, ideally. Create hands out his units. Setting up for a Widowmine drop. Tech labs are on the way. This may turn into a 2-1-1 without any stim, without any tech labs on the Raxes. We'll see if he starts Viking production. With the tech lab, we'll see if he add-on subs even. Say Widowmine drop into the Raven, looks like a standard follow-up. Widowmine drop is coming in into the main. Blink is already done. Ooh. Yeah, avoids the shots, nicely done. Avoids Widowmines, shuts them down, and herO, he will lose one probe so far, so barely any damage. At the same time, though, we do see the Hellions into the natural. Gets one more. So 2 probe kills. Better defense for herO. And our eyes are on Cure. Okay, add-on swap. I was curious to see if there was going to be an add-on swap or not. So we have the Raven Harass follow-up. Upgrade should be on the way. And Cure is building up into the mid-game. And there's Stim. So again, Cure should not be pushing without Stim. Meanwhile, herO, yeah, double bunker at the natural. We have 1 tank in the main base. Second tank just now popping out. And herO, does he dive in? This natural's so large. Oh my god, he just gets behind the mineral line. Does get behind. Nice control so far. Yeah, it does pick up, does pull away. Blink is complete. Blinks out. And denies mining. It denies mining time here. 6 SCV kills. Here he lost 1 stalker. Yeah, 1 stalker went down in that fight. Pulls away, rotates, the main base is more secure. Here he wants them. He blinks in, he's gonna get it. 2 shots. Will cost him a stalker. As he gets 3 add-ons. He wants a tank. He wants a tank as well, and he will get it. It's a little bit greedy. As herO does bleed out more stalkers. That was 2 stalkers for a tank and 3 add-ons. More importantly, though, he denies Stim. Stim is denied, Stim is delayed, and Curie's going to be stuck on 2 bases that much longer. Do you see what I see? 2 more Raxes. This is more indicative of a 2-base all-in. We'll see if he gets add-ons. So we'll keep an eye on Cure. But he has been... never mind. He gets a 3rd TC. He's expanding. And this means that herO is in a very comfortable position. This tells us, okay, there's no 2-base all-in. That means Cure is turtling. That means Cure is turtling up back at home. That means that herO has so much more freedom. Yeah, 4 stalkers, a 1-shot SCVs. Getting 7 SCV kills. 1 stalker goes down, but herO does get out. herO pulls away. He wants more. And again, you can just see how much space there is here in the natural. So much space. Delays the command center. Speaking of delayed command center, there we go. SCV now does start. Let's get back into building. And here's chilling. Here is building up to Colossus. 4th Nexus on the way. Getting a 2nd Bay, sorry, 2nd Robo. Into double Colossus production. Here just needs time. And these Stalkers, they've all been about buying time. Secure here will soon finish up these add-ons, these upgrades. Sim is finally going to finish. Here he's not quite in position to deny the 3rd, but he does at least spot it. Spot the base. Oh, bleeds out a stalker. Stalker goes down, confirms there's no extra Raxes. And here comes Cure. Finally comes the main push at 8:30. There should be Colossus to meet him. There's two. Yeah, there's already two Colossi. Cure, he has to be careful here. Ideally, he postures. Ideally, he does not try to push up the ramp. If he does, I mean, there's a lot of firepower waiting for him.
Command center upgrade.
He gets spotted.
Complete.
Oh my god, crazy blink. Gets him in the back. Nice pick up at a herO. And once again, I do not see Cure pushing up this ramp. It's not going to happen. But again, he's just containing the Protoss, so he's trying to. Spots the Prism. Prism is spotted. The Prism actually forces everything to turn around. Yeah, Cure turns back home. herO does buy some breathing room. And Cure gets scared back. Prism gets spotted. Oh, the mine shot. Oof. Nice mine shot. Takes down the Prism. Prism goes down, but now herO expands. Remember, if it wasn't for that War Prism, Cure would have been down here on the low ground, and herO would be stuck on 4 bases. But herO, he breaks out, thanks to the War Prism. He's able to expand, and herO himself has gained map control instead. And now it's Cure that's contained. But again, Cure is turtling up. We have a wall of missile turrets, academies on the way, armory for 2-2. herO pushing up the ramp. Bold movie blinks in, takes down the first tank. Nice force fields. But herO has to be so careful here not to overextend. Snipes the Vikings. 3 Colossus, they just wreak havoc. Making his way towards the base, does force a cancel. And overall, that was a very efficient move here from herO. He was able to force field. He made sure that Cure didn't collapse on the army. In a head-on fight, I did favor Cure, but he was just zoned away by the force fields, and his CC was denied. Now, this is the other big factor here of Title Citadel, is the gold base. Whoever has map control, bam, they get a free gold. And herO has map control. Cure, he's turtling up on 3 bases, so herO is free to get his own 4th, his own 5th, and his own 6th expansion. So here he has double the base count, and the gold base is going to be a massive factor as well. Now with these gold minerals, this means that here he can just warp in and max out with zealots. Speaking of double drop, double zealot drop into the main. I mean, hey, we spoke about the charge zealots. We should be seeing a massive warp in. There it is. Zealots get into the main base, and Cure is being pulled apart. So the main army dives in, takes down the tank just barely. Yeah, tank goes down. Army has to kite back. That's a lot of lasers. And that's going to be 17 dead SCVs in the main. 17 dead workers. And GG gets called. Too much damage. herO, he will take the series 4-1. And herO will advance on to the grand finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. herO, he does make it through. He does win in the rematch. Remember, Cure initially beat herO. Cure was the player that knocked herO down to the lower brackets, but herO does get his revenge. Again, a very intense, very aggressive series here. We got a lot of out of our players. We did see Cure going for the all-in initially on Mothership, which herO was able to hard counter by going into charge. So herO did read him well in game 1. Game 2, we saw herO being greedy. I'm still a little bit perplexed as to herO's decision. herO went for a Stargate opener on Tourmaline. Tourmaline is one of, if not the most aggressive map in the map pool. So herO did not get away with the Stargate play. That was the one game that Cure won, was on Tourmaline. Made sense as he punished herO, and then herO was able to embrace Stargate play on White Rabbit, able to cripple Cure early on with the Oracle Harass, getting 10 SCVs at the start of the game. That was just game-winning damage. So again, Cure was punished, he was crippled, he did not scout the Stargate, so he didn't know what was coming. The Oracle did cripple him early on. Coming into game 4, we did see Celestial Enclave, where Cure had a really cheeky build going for a CC first into 2-1-1 hyper aggression out of Cure, but herO was able to punish him, went for a very safe build instead, and did punish him as when Cure moved out, we saw herO move in, sniping tanks, sniping add-ons, slowing down Cure and slowing down his eventual 2-base all-in on Celestial Enclave, which I was really surprised by. Like, all-ins are not really favored on Celestial Enclave. I think Cure was just trying to be cheeky. If you remember, we spoke about it, it felt like he was trying to hard counter Stargate play just because we had seen Stargates 2 games in a row, but it was a bit of a misread. herO did not embrace Stargates. Now let us say here into Tidal Citadel with herO just pulling Cure apart, gaining map control, and getting up to 6 bases. Crazy, baby. 6 bases, plenty of warp-ins, plenty of zealots. GG. GG. Really appreciate how I summarize the game after it's over. ZG does the same. I don't know who did it first or whether one was influenced by the other. Doesn't matter. Super good. Oh, that's nice that Zombigo does it as well. I didn't know that. I think we just did that independently. But there you go. There you go. It's all good. But there we go. GG. GG. Well played. With that, let us head on over here to the rest of the bracket. Oh, let's head on over. And we have our results. We have our results coming in here. So, bam, we have our top 2 players of the tournaments. Reynor, of course, he was lying in wait in the upper bracket in the grand finals, and herO will advance on the face-off against him. Now, herO and Reynor, they do have a history. They have a back and forth. herO, of course, herO, of course, did defeat Reynor in their most recent best of 7 in Little League Cup. herO did win 4-1, but Reynor, he's now been away from the Rift that much longer. You know, he's been on that grind. Reynor is in South Korea. He's been in Korea for quite some time, and he will remain in Korea at least until the end of December, as he wants to compete in the RSL qualifiers. So we'll see if Reynor can win in the rematch. Here, since herO, he had a very intense, a very dynamic initial best of 7, and we'll see how Reynor compares. It's catching up. Still feel that Siege Tank nerf so sort of fire. I mean, I feel like tanks are fine as they are, but I mean, when it comes to that last game, a big moment, of course, was the War Prism. If you remember, was the Prism getting past the army and forcing Cure back home. We did speak on it, but at the time, Cure did have map control. He had map control, he had control of the map, but because of the Prism, he turned everything back around. That was the moment when herO was able to expand, right? That's when he broke out. He took the northern base and he took the gold base as well. So he was able to break out, able to expand, break free from his contain, and take map control away from Cure, which originally Cure did have. So again, unfortunately, he did respond quite heavily, respond quite hard to that War Prism, and GG. GG, well played. With that, we're going to be cutting to a break. We're going to be cutting to a break here. When we come back, we will have the grand finals. It is going to be a best of 7 finals here between Reynor and herO. So we'll see you soon after the break. See you soon. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely Brood War OST as we returned. We have returned here with the grand finals, those grand finales here of the Kung Fu Cup 2025 November monthly finals. Day 5 days of Kung Fu Cup action, and we finally made it to our top 2 players. We had 8 to begin with. With 8 players step into the ring here, and 6 of them have fallen. We did bid adieu. We did say goodbye to players like Cure, Showtime, Gumiho, Mana, Solar, Classic. Many players have fallen, and now we're down to our top 2, down to herO and Reynor, which are, you know, some of the best players in the world. Reynor, he's what, top 2 Zerg player alongside herO. herO, he's arguably best Protoss, if not top 2 alongside Classic as well. So you don't get much better than herO and Reynor. And we're about to experience them in a best of 7. Let's go. Let us go. We're jumping on in. Game 1 is going to be on the Old Republic. Let's go. And again, this is going to be a quote-unquote rematch. I did mention previously that herO and Reynor, they did face off not too long ago in Little League Cup in a best of 7, where herO did win 4-1. herO did win it in a much more decided fashion, and we'll see if Reynor can get his revenge. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss representing T1. It is herO. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Italian Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. Here we go. Now, when it came to that previous series, herO was so chaotic. He went for a different build every single game. herO went for Tempest Rush. He went for Glaive. He went into Twilight Council into Glaive Eps. He went into Stargate into Glaive Eps. He went into DTs with Shadow Stride. We saw a charge all in as well. Like herO, he was crazy chaotic in that series, and Reynor had a very hard time keeping up. But now we're past that. Now Reynor has more experience with herO, and we'll see if that chaos continues out of herO or if we do go for a more standard approach, especially on our new map pool. Loading on in, we're loading into the Old Republic. The Old Republic is a very large map of the map pool, and this map favors aggression in a sense. So the rush distance is quite long in this map, but what is more important is how difficult it is to turtle up and defend on 4 bases. This is a big reason as to why the meta has shifted so much. Talking a little bit about ZVP. If you know anything about ZVP, you'd know that I would say that ZVP has been pretty stale for the past couple of years. It's been a couple of years at this point, and ZVP, what do we expect? Typically, in the last patch, I should emphasize, Stargate opener into a 3rd base, into a Forge and Twilight Council +1 and Blink, into a Templar Archives, into Storm, into a defensive 3 base setup, into a 4th base, into Sky Toss. Like, that was ZVP for over a year. Like, it's and it's been pretty stale. Every now and then you see a player like mixing Glaive Eps and go for like an earlier Twilight Council, or we mix in an early Council into late Forge, into like Blink, into like an 8-gate Blink Stalker all in. You saw a little bit of variance, but not too much of it. But that meta and that kind of like more turtly defensive style into Sky Toss, I would say is much less viable now. It is much less viable to the point where I don't think I've seen it work and succeed yet, especially on some of these more open and aggressive maps. So for now we have the Stargate opener, but we have seen a lot of players mix things up and go for much earlier Blink timings, much earlier aggressive builds, delayed Storm. We've seen a lot of delayed Storm play. This is where Showtime actually gave Reynor a really hard time. I do highly recommend, if you missed it, Showtime versus Reynor in this tournament. In this very tournament, Showtime almost won. Like, Reynor, he barely won 3-2, and it was a really close series, really clutch. But Showtime, what was he going for? He was sticking with a ground composition for a very long time. It's a very late Sky Toss instead. Showtime, he was going into Storm, yes, but he was going into Robo, into a mortar production, into delayed Storm, into a heavy gateway composition, into a heavy ground army instead. He was refusing to tech too quickly into Sky Toss, just because it's so difficult to get away with that nowadays. Meanwhile, Void Ray. Okay, you have my attention. Void Ray opener out of herO. Does open Void Ray, will be hunting down Overlords, denying Vision, denying Scouting, as Reynor expands towards herO. This is indicative here of an aggressive build, to spread creep faster, to all in faster as well. Meanwhile, are we hiding anything? Going for the Void Ray here is designed to hunt down Overlords, is designed to keep Reynor in the dark, to hide the tech. Now, this could just be a standard follow-up, or we could be hiding a Twilight Council, or a second Stargate, or a Fleet Beacon. We could be hiding something in the main. We'll see as herO will expand. And the Void Ray is hunting down the Overlords. Quickly, just touching on the reason as to why we have seen a shift in the meta, why it is less viable to rush into Skytoss. One, the maps. The maps are more open. The maps are more exposed. Think of Tourmaline, think of Ruby Rock, think of the Old Republic, think of Celestial Enclave even as well. It can be much, sorry, not Celestial Enclave, Title Citadel. There are a lot of maps here that are quite difficult to defend on 4 bases. There are some maps where it's easier. I'm thinking of Winter Madness, I'm thinking of Celestial Enclave, and I'm thinking of White Rabbit. But I would say those are the only 3 maps. Those are the only 3 like decently defendable maps. The others do favor aggression. And because of that, we've seen a much more dynamic kind of ZVP. Meanwhile, standard follow-up is going to be a Twilight Council and Forge. It looks like +1 and Blink. So far, it looks like a standard build out of herO. Another big factor, it isn't just the maps, but also the patch. What I mean by that is, in the patch, the Baneling was buffed with extra HP, and that means that the Banelings are much more viable against Storm-based builds. So even rushing into Storm defensively doesn't guarantee defense, not against Lingbane Hydra. So we've seen a rise of Lingbane Hydra all-ins, and a rise of Protoss players struggling to survive if they cut corners. As the Oracles, they dive in, 2 drones go down, the Queen goes down. Nice move out, nice pick up here. Ooh, but alas, the interception. Reynor, he shuts down one of the Oracles, and this was not worth it for herO. So far, not worth it. Meanwhile, the Adepts are moving out. I believe this has not been scouted by Reynor. He's not aware. Does come in with the Overlord, and he will confirm the follow-up, does confirm the standard build of Blink and +1. As herO does come into the shade, herO, he should come out on top here, but nice movement out of those things, out of Reynor. Does have some nice movement. Adepts, they cancel the shade, they deny mining, but no major economic damage. No major damage yet. It was early Eva Chamber to +1 melee. It is going to be Ling Hydra out of Reynor, and we'll keep an eye on whether or not he throws in a Baneling Nest. For now, he's droning, he's saturating, taking all of his gases. He's taking his gases. We're building up back at home. Getting his robo, no Temple Archives yet. And we'll see if herO can survive this. Throwing down his shield batteries. Reynor, he does have a 4th base. He does transfer, but for the time being, he's actually droning up a little bit further. Okay. Basically, we're waiting to see, is Reynor going to drone up further and saturate his 4th base and get in towards Hive Tech and Lurker Tech, or does he cut workers and does he commit with Lingbane Hydra, or just even Ling Hydra on Lair Tech? Yep, there it is, Baneling Nest. That's what we're waiting for. Waiting for the Baneling Nest. Reynor is going to commit. And it seems like Reynor is going for a Lair Tech all-in. Now, when I say Lair Tech all-in, yes, the drone count is relatively high, but we're refusing to tech up into Hive or Lurkers. So we're sticking with purely Lingbane Hydra. It is purely a Lair-based army, and this means that if Reynor does not kill herO, he's going to be outscaled, right? He's going to be outscaled, that he will fall behind. So again, this is meant to kill or at least cripple. As Reynor's about to max. He's about to max out. You don't see it yet. Reynor, he does have a massive supply lead, but Reynor, he's done droning. He's done droning, he's making purely army, and he will max momentarily. So here he has to get the hell out of here. Stasis goes up. herO blinks away. Here he opted not to go for Storm. He's going for Colossus. He's going for Colossi, but they take longer to really come online. Reynor is pushing in. That's going to be a tough hold. Again, this low ground is so open. We spoke about it. The 4th base is so difficult to defend against these all-ins. As things they do attempt to peel off. Yep, there's a cancel, and herO cannot defend. Right, again, getting a 4th base on this map, on Old Republic, is insanely difficult. Here on the low ground, it's very open. It's on low ground. You have an entrance here on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side as well. Just very wide entrance, very wide arc. It also leads into the 3rd base. Here on the right-hand side, also very wide arc is available as well. Very open, and also split off from your own bases. Yeah, and here just can't expand. Here just cannot expand, cannot get his base. This is why we often see Protoss players go for all-ins on this map. As here come the Banelings. That's a lot of Banelings. Might be 29 Banelings rolling in. Oh, they look to crash in. Decent stasis traps. Very nice. Stasis traps pop off. Banelings, they still try to get into the mineral line. Getting a handful of workers. And so far, herO, he's defending well. But is it good enough? As herO pushes forward. Dives on the Queens. Sorry, dives on the Hydras. And Reynor, he should still have enough though. It's been a very impressive defense here with the Colossus. hero's been so efficient with it. Oh no! Yeah, Bailey's, they get into the middle line at 16, 21 probes go down. And herO has been broken. He lost his fourth base and he's losing his third. Links are trickling in. Again, not the best trades here from Reynor towards the end. Not the most efficient fight, but he will kill the base. He will kill the expansion. Oof. Third base goes down. And Reynor from here, he can just back off. He can drone. Now he can take up. There it is. It's late, but it's on the way. Infestation pit. Getting his pit. Working towards hive tech. Getting into lurkers. And it was ambitious that herO tried to play standard and tried to build up into Colossus and tried to defend his fourth base, but as we mentioned, like, it is insanely difficult to protect this fourth. That applies to Protoss and to Terran. And with that, Reynor's just rallying. Just going to be rallying out. The closest count is quite high, true. Hive is on the way. With that, so Reynor can get into Viper tech. Vipers, I would say, are the one thing he needs. Sutter stepping in. He gets one of the Colossus. He gets one. Doesn't quite get the other. Again, the Colossus are trading as efficiently as possible. There's what, there's 40 kills on one of the Colossus. He's doing what he can. No. Oof. Snaps another Colossi. Here even forced to pull the boys. With that, herO trying to make his final stand. He's microing his heart out. No! Prism goes down. He cannot save the Colossus. Not anymore. Not like this. GG gets called, and Reynor will take game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Reynor, he does take a lead in the series, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. But again, as you mentioned, the Old Republic is insanely difficult to defend your fourth base on this map. All-ins are favored, and Reynor did go for a lair tech all-in. Towards the end, yes, he was getting an infestation pit, and he was getting a spire, but that was after he had killed the fourth and killed the third base. That's after he had already crippled herO. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we're now getting into game number 2. I would have said that herO would have had a chance here if he had gone for something more aggressive or gone for a different kind of build. Playing standard and playing more defensive here on the Old Republic is less viable, and with that, GG. GG, well played. As we're loading into game number 2, loading into Winter Madness. Now, this is where we go from one extreme to the other. Old Republic, mate, you cannot defend a fourth base. Here, you can. I would say that this is maybe the most defensive map in the map pool, maybe alongside Celestial Enclave. We'll get into it. This morning, in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the South Korean Protoss. We have the red Protoss representing T1. Down in the series, we'll see if we can bounce back. It is herO. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Italian Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Basilisk, leading the series 1-0. It is Reynor. Here we go. And welcome 1-0 to Winter Madness, as herO comes in with the pylon block. He will be looking to force the unnatural natural out of Reynor. Does force expansion at the third location. But again, coming into this map, we do have a secure natural, we have a secure third base. There isn't an entrance but a ramp coming in between the bases, so this is much more defendable here for whoever's defending, of course. So a much more defendable location. Likewise, a much more narrow entrance into the third base and a much more narrow entrance into the fourth base as well. I say narrow, these are like medium-sized entrances, but compared to the Old Republic, compared to Tourmaline, compared to Ruby Rock, compared to all these other maps, it's more defensive. So getting up to 4 bases is more viable here on Winter Madness, and this is where herO could get away with playing standard and getting into Sky Toss. We've seen Protoss players be successful with that style here on this map. For now though, a big shout out in the chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Yomers in the chat. God, thank you so much for subscribing for 4 months. Thank you, thank you. Do appreciate the support. Do appreciate it. Figure throw down a ninja 4th base and keep massing army might be worth it. And then if you win the fight, you already have a 4th running. If you're referring to that... Oh wait, sorry. I think I missed part of the conversation. Is there any merit to throwing down a ninja corner base in the situation when Reynor started threatening the 4th base? I would say no, not in that situation. Not in the situation that you're constructing. You're envisioning a position where Reynor was already going for the all-in. If you get a ninja base, that just means you have less money to warp in defensively. That means you just die faster, because Reynor, he has no intention of just dying the 4th. As you saw, he killed the 4th, then he killed the 3rd. Like, he kept going, right? Like, Reynor was not going to stop. Like, like Reynor's, his goal there isn't just to kill the 4th and back off and macro, it's to kill the 4th and then kill you. So specifically in that kind of game, a ninja base would not really work out, just because Reynor was going for an all-in. In a different situation where the game is slowing down, it's a little bit slower paced, and the goal of your opponent is just to contain you, then that's when ninja bases can work. They do have a place, and sometimes you do see them in pro play. It is really risky, but it can be viable in certain situations if the opponent's goal is just contain. But if their goal is to kill, then it hurts you more than anything. So it's very situational based. I would say it's not applicable to the situation that we just saw. Thank you, Yomers. A different time of game used to be yeah, like again, in a different kind of game where your opponent's just like posturing and just denying your base, like then sure, that can work. Just depends on the situation. As now here he does look to take his 3rd base against Stargate, open into 3rd. Nice big goes with the Lings, getting one adept, getting a Ling, sorry, getting a probe. So nice damage so far. Lings, they attempt to rush in, and there's no warp gate, no shot. Very nicely timed here by Reynor. He dips in. Can he get a probe? He can. Gets one more probe as well. 2 probes go down. At the same time, the Oracle did get some damage across the map, but overall this should not have happened. So better pickoffs, better trade from Reynor. Goes in, gets 2 probes. Gets a full scout. Gets the adept. Some more Lings are rallying across the map. Reynor, he wants to force a cancel. He shouldn't be able to, but again, he was able to successfully apply pressure, get some damage done, and punish herO. In the end, Reynor has a slight edge in the early game. Does have that slight edge. Meanwhile, Twilight Council should be into Forge. Yo, can he force the cancel? Oh no! The base is getting low. The base is getting very low. Can he get it? Barely not, but that's a very low expansion. Here he moves out. We have 20 Lings in production. That tells us that Reynor, he wants that base. He wants that 3rd. Until then, though, it ups straight into the main base with the Oracles to support. Queens, they do collapse in. And here, he's not quite getting into the mineral line. Yeah, Reynor, he pulls away in time. Does pull away. Nice positioning here from herO. He's going to trade as best he can. But I'm still scared about the 3rd. Because this is going to be cleaned up. This is going to be cleaned up. And again, Reynor, he doesn't really lose any workers. He controls well. herO did not get a forge. He's going into delayed glaives. This is late. It was a late Twilight Council, late upgrade, late Glaive Adepts out of herO. You can see how low the Nexus is. And Reynor, he wants it. He wants the base. Ah, no. And no pylon, no shield battery. It's just been a very chaotic game. Very chaotic. Oof. Gets another adept. Yeah, gets another. As Reynor nibbles away at the expansion. And here is all in. Here, he's hyper committed here. He's going for a forge. This tells us that here he's actually not all in, but I should say he's very committed. If these adepts fail to get damage done, then herO will fall behind. He'll fall behind, he will stay behind. So he's banking so much, he's relying so much on these adepts. The problem is that Reynor, he's playing roaches. We're very quickly checking here. There's a roach warren at the natural. Did herO see it? He did see the roach warren. So essentially, if Reynor was cutting roaches like last game, remember what happened last game? Reynor went Ling Hydra, right? He went Ling Hydra on the Old Republic. If he was going Ling Hydra here, then Adepts could do well, but he's not going Ling Hydra. He's going Ling Roach. Roaches are amassing. Roach speed is on the way. Roaches, they are tanky. They're built to tank. They're built to buffer against Adepts. As a full wall at the natural. Like Reynor, he's ready for this. The roaches are here, and Adepts, they cannot fight head on. He's gonna try and knock down the front door. Breaks in. Adepts, they break in, and he needs economic damage. Gets 2 drones so far. Shades into the main. Reynor late to react. Yeah, late to react, late to respond. Doesn't respond, actually. Oh my god, 7 drones go down. A nice damage here by herO. A nice start, but do you notice something? Reynor, as he loses all these workers, Reynor's not redroning. Reynor, he does not have any workers at his 4th base. He is undersaturated at his main. Why? All in. He's going for a roach all in. So that's why he was building roaches to begin with. He has no intention for the game to last any longer. He has 0 upgrades. He has Evo chambers, but 0 upgrades. He's going for the roach all in. He's going for the German taxi, and Adepts, they will struggle to defend. We have a lot of Adepts here, and the hope is for the hope is for herO to buy time. The hope is that herO can keep Reynor at home while he builds up at home instead of going into Blink Stalker. He gives a shade, he sees nothing. Yeah, there's no drones. There's no drones here, and now herO knows. Now he's aware. The Oracles, they're doing what they can, but we get a full surround of the Adepts. No. Here he does shade away, breaks into the natural, and he is buying time, but this is still expensive for herO. Because he's throwing away so much, he does pick off more drones. Oracles, they signed the 4th base. Honestly, the 4th base doesn't really matter. Oh my god. As Reynor's losing everything. Losing every single drone here. But again, this doesn't really matter too much because Reynor's all in anyway. And here we go. Reynor, he's rallying everything across. He will lose 18 workers. He's down to 41. herO, he's getting a 4th base. Oh, this is greedy. He's getting a 4th base. He's throwing down a wall of shield batteries, wall of cannons. He needs immortals more than anything, but he has no robo. There's no robo here to defend. There's no immortal production. He has to rely purely on Blink Stalkers. And here comes Reynor. Reynor's wobbling in. Runs into a wall of shield batteries, but there's barely any Stalkers. And Queens, they drop in as well. The Job Lords have arrived. herO being forced back. Biles, they will connect. Oof. And they connect with the mineral line. They connect with the army. And here he just doesn't have enough. Oh, nice stasis though. Okay, nice stasis trap. Nice stasis. We're down to what, 8 Stalkers. Army's still rallying in, and this is becoming critical damage. Just waiting for the stasis to run out. Waiting for it to run out. And it does. And Reynor, he will overwhelm the army here. And again, it was just a really rough start for herO. Winding it back, what happened? herO, he moved out with the Adepts. He moved out with his Adepts. He moved out with his first Oracle. Because of that, he didn't have anything to defend back at home, and he lost a probe. He lost the Adept. He lost more workers in the main base, and herO had a very shaky start to the beginning of the game. He also failed to get damage done. GG gets called, and Reynor will take a 2-0 lead in the series. GG. Whew, GG, well played. But Reynor, he had a much cleaner early game. He dealt a lot of damage early on, and herO went for a delayed Glaive Adept build. What do I mean by that? Typically, when you go into Glaives, as a Protoss player, you get your Twilight Council as the Nexus is thrown down. No, pretty early on. If you remember, because herO was so adamant about getting some counter damage, he was so fixated and focused on his Adept and Oracle Harass, and he did some okay damage. He killed some workers. He didn't kill any workers. He killed Lings. He traded with Lings more than anything. He might have killed just one drone, but because he was so fixated, his Twilight Council was late. So his Twilight Council was late, his Glaives were late, and that meant that everything else was delayed as well, referring to Blink, referring to +1, referring to any semblance of Immortal production or 4th base. So everything was just late. Everything was late that game for herO. It was a very messy build, a very messy game from him. And we saw that unfortunately, as herO was massing up Glaive Adepts, Reynor was going into Roaches. If Reynor was skipping Roaches and going Ling Hydra, this can work. But alas, Reynor, he was playing it safe, decided to go into Roach production, and before herO even hit with his Adepts, Reynor was already setting up for an all-in. We pointed out Reynor, he refused to drone up his 4th base. Reynor, he was not droning, he was not saturating, he was already going for his own German taxi. It was a weakened German taxi because he lost so many drones, but he was going for the all-in regardless. And with that, GG. With that, GG well played, just outscaled herO, and now Reynor takes a 2-0 lead. And now we're getting into game number 3. Let's go. Let us go. So again, a very messy game out of herO is what I will say, which is a little bit uncharacteristic, but again, a very messy game of the Protoss player. And we'll see if we can tighten up, as spawning in the top left-hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing T1. It is herO. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Italian Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. Here we go. Interesting game. I mean, again, it was herO. He had just a really messy early game, is what I will say. Just because his Twilight Council was late, his Glaives were late as well. Like, everything was late. So Reynor had a bit of an easier time defending, and Reynor was already, going for his own Roach all-in regardless, right? So already setting up for that. Which is meant to hard counter Glaive Adepts as well. But here we go. Now we're getting into game 3. Getting into game 3 here. Oh, my apologies. There we go. As we get in, Reynor is forced to expand at the unnatural natural over on the left-hand side, and Reynor, he does have a bit of an uncomfortable start, but overall, welcome to 10,000 feet. Okay, so 10,000 feet is one of the more aggressive maps in the map pool. It does have I believe it has the shortest rush distance among any other map. It is shorter than Ruby Rock, it is shorter than Tourmaline as well by a couple of seconds. So aggression can be favored. I will say, to counteract that, I will say the 4-base setup here is relatively safe, referring to the natural, the forward base, and the linear 3rd base as well. Yes, there are some entrances here. We have multiple entrances towards the left-hand side, and we have one larger ramp on the right-hand side as well. But in general, we have seen some Protoss and Terran players successfully turtle up on 4 bases and get into a longer game state here. So this is where herO, I feel like, could potentially play standard. He could opt to play standard here. At the same time, we'll see how Reynor reacts. Because it can be quite difficult to break a 4-basing player, this is where Muta play is more viable. So we could see Aspire, we could see Muta play. We have seen quite a bit of that here on 10,000 feet. Just because the ground aggression is more difficult. So we'll see. We shall see. For now, Stargate opener out of herO. Hamlin is going to be shut down. We'll lock in, Pappy. We'll lock in. As herO pokes in, I get some value here. Picks off some Lings, pulls away. As 3 Lings going down, and herO can now look to expand. Speaking of, just waiting for the Oracle. Oracle is on the way. herO walls up. Now we can take a third base. And now, unlike last game, we don't really have a surge of Lings to deny this. We do have 5 Lings out on the map. But the Adept and the Oracle should be enough to allow herO to expand without too much issue. Overlook gets sniped. Adepts are in position. Oh. Yeah, Lings, they are denied. Basically, opposed to last game, these two Adepts were across the map. That's why herO had such a hard time expanding and had such a hard time in the early game. These Adepts were across the map and herO was punished. This time he's in position. So here he does get his base up and running. I believe Reynor did make it a wave of 10 Lings? 14, yeah, 14 Lings in total. Reynor can apply some pressure. Eyes are on Reynor. He's making more Lings. Uh-oh. We have 8 more Lings on the way. herO going for a standard follow-up here, going, oh my god, I say standard follow-up, he's massive, he's banking oracles, okay. Because he's banking oracles, there's a high chance it's going to be +1 in charge. This is a common build that herO is fond of. I say common build, common specifically for herO. I don't think I've seen any other Protoss player embrace this. I think I saw Max do a variation not too long ago, but again, Mass Oracle most likely into charge. This is a hyper-aggressive build out of herO, not standard, and doesn't scale too well into a longer game. This has to build up towards the timing. Here we go. Oracles move out. We have 4 in total. He wants a queen. And he should get one. There we go. Queen goes down, going for the Spore. The Spore will get an Oracle though. Oof. Yeah, and here he doesn't get what he was looking for. He does get 4 drone kills, but ideally he wants to keep that Oracle alive. As he does go for a flyby. Nicely done. Gets 4 more drones, 8 in total. Not bad. And there's that charge follow-up. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but it is a little bit late. Here he was really hyper-fixated on his control, on his oracles. So +1 is a little bit late. Charge a little bit late as well. But the oracles race back home, and these Lings, they shouldn't find any counter damage. Meanwhile, there it is, Spire. There's a reason why we brought this up at the start of the game, if you remember. We spoke about the viability of muta play here on 10,000 feet, and we spoke about the reasoning for that. It is because specifically on this map, it is easier to turtle up on 4 bases. The rush distance by ground is short, but the 4 base setup here is relatively secure. So it's hard to really be successful with like Roach pushes and Hydra pushes. So Reynor, he wants to avoid that by going into the Spire. Meanwhile, nice pick up, but once again, he will lose an Oracle. Does get all 3 queens. 3 queens go down. Lings, they poke in. They don't really find too much damage. Spire is almost complete, and I believe herO has yet to scout. Yeah, he has not confirmed. For all he knows, it could be Hydras amassing. Could be Hydras building up. Lings, they confirm the Zealots. Yeah, Reynor, he knows. He's in a good position. Now, because he sees all these charge lots, what does that mean? That means no blink, right? That's what this means, essentially. There is no blink. So without blink, mutas are even more effective. As the anti-air is very limited for herO. Very limited. So Reynor's build lines up very well against what herO is doing. herO's anti-air is going to be Archons, basically. Just Archons and Storm. Yeah, mutas are revealed. herO, he needs cannons back at home. Starts up the Phoenix. So at least herO, he knows ahead of time, right? He has a little bit of time to react. As cannons are on the way, Archons move in. And herO will defend. That's way too soon. It's very too soon as Reynor gets into the natural, goes further into the main base. herO, he actually goes for a massive counterattack. Okay. He's going for the counterattack. Oh no, he throws away another Oracle. Another Oracle is thrown away here against the Spore. Mutas, they bust into the bases. And we have Roaches behind this. Remember, Reynor, he did not go pure muta. He made 10 mutas to harass. He's been building up Roaches to defend against the counterattack. He knew that a counterattack was coming. herO will kill an expansion. There's a recall back home. 13 probes have already gone down. And Reynor is in a commanding position. Could do with more drones. If you wanted to macro. But for now, Reynor is massing out more lings, more roaches. I believe Reynor, he's expecting herO to counterattack again. So he's getting ready for it. Lings, they ensure that herO has no expansion. And again, these muses have been worth it. They have paid for themselves already. Paid for themselves. We have Overlord speed on the way. This tells us that Reynor's going for Drop Lords. He's going for a German taxi. He's going for a massive all-in. Yes, Reynor, he does have a 4th base and he does have some saturation, but the plan here is to strike with roaches, Ling main, and Queen. And everything. Oh, I spoke too soon. That's Invitation bits. Okay. Anyway, here he comes to Reynor. And again, Reynor's been amassing his army. Going for another Ling counterattack. He will hit top right. Has +1 melee. He will trade well against these zealots. And he returns everything around. Turns everything back around. And we're macroing up from here. Reynor, he's taking. We have the Hive on the way. We have the Hydrogen on the way as well. Reynor, he is maxed out, but he's maxed out with a bit of a subpar army here. I mean, so does herO. Like, we're in a really awkward game state, and we'll see how Reynor makes use of this army. As herO is trying to turtle up. Nice tap on the Templar. Gets one. One Templar goes down. The Templar mothership is on the way. The longer this goes on, at least currently, I do prefer herO's position. I mean, it's still a really kind of like awkward game state, but essentially Reynor's maxed, but he's maxed out with a very heavy Roach Ravager army. It's a very inefficient army. He has to get rid of it. He has to peel off some roaches and build up more Hydras. Trades well against the Zealotso. Zealots go down. We do see the muse being thrown away. And here he's commencing carrier production. Taken to the skies. Here he's switching into Skytos. Here he's established his 4th base. Now he's getting his 5th up and running as well. There's a lot of pressure on Reynor. Here is stabilizing. Again, the muse did a lot of economic damage, but Reynor, he has to try to find some more. Does poke in, Storm connects. Brutal Storm, and more storms coming in. Mothership has arrived, going for Cloak. Snipes the Overseer, no detection. Oh no! Yeah, no detection, and with that, the Roach Ravager is going to be completely shut down. herO holds. Here he holds on. Again, a clutch Mothership timing. Going for the center base. And Reynor, he did trade out a lot of units here. He's trying to build up Hydras back at home. He is working towards Lurker upgrades as we speak. But as Reynor, he's getting into Hydra Lurker. herO, he's already got Skytoss. Like, that's the scary thing. Right now, herO has momentum. herO has a tech lead. So once again, Bloodlust is going to go down. Nice catch on these Zealots. Carriers are revealed. Reynor catching some, transferring High Templar as well. Yeah, Templar go down. Recall into the main. Oh my god. Yeah, he goes to the main base. Reynor completely out of position. There's the force field. Drones are locked in. And the hive is gonna fall. Reynor, he works so hard for that hive. It's gonna go down. The spawning pool, the hive, the pits, the spire as well. And Reynor is going for the counterattack. He's going for the base trade. As Reynor, he rallies everything across the map. Takes down the center base. Remember here, he can always recall. Yep, there it is. Recalls back home. And herO should be fine. It should be fine here. He's keeping up with the army. More Sky Tosses coming in. Lifts up the lurkers. And Reynor, he has been outscaled. GG gets called, and herO, he will put a point on the board. We have a series, we have a back and forth. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Honestly, Reynor had a really nice start. Remember, when he went into mutas, he killed, what was it, 18 probes? 15 to 18 workers. He got a lot of economic damage done with his mutas, and he was ready for the counterattack with his with his Lingbane Roach Ravager, if you remember, but he was stuck on Roach Ravager. We did bring it up at the time. We did criticize how Reynor, he had maxed out with a Lingbane Roach Ravager army. He was working towards Hydras, but he was still stuck with that subpar army, and he had to trade. He had to be active, he had to be aggressive. I would say the best move there would have been to try to kill the 4th base, but he was unable to. The 4th base got up and running. Reynor, he was stuck with a subpar army, and by the time he finally started making Hydra Lurker, we already had carriers on the way. We already had Skytos. herO did outscale Reynor. GG. GG, well played. Impressive defense, impressive comeback there out of herO. GG. GG, well played. And now we're loading into Taito Citadel. Based on how Reynor was playing, it looks like Reynor was expecting herO to all in. It looks like he was expecting herO, after taking all that damage, he was waiting for herO to just double down, to commit, and to be forced into an all-in. An all-in that never came, because herO just expanded. He just took his 4th base, and then a 5th, right? So, bit of a misread there out of Reynor. Gambled a little bit. Here we go. We're getting into game 4 and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Taito Citadel. We have the South Green Protoss player. We have the red Protoss for T1. It is herO. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the which one? Oh no, has the mental been broken, baby? We have the blue Zerg player. We have the Italian Zerg going for the 12 pool. It is Reynor. Oh boy. Okay. So we are going to be building up. We'll see if Reynor pulls the boys. The Overlord is scouting, is checking for the drone. Sorry, for the probe. He's looking for the worker. And if herO doesn't probe scout, then Reynor may just commit. Okay. Eyes are on Reynor. Link production has begun. Okay, he's committing. If we didn't send out the drone, then we're thinking it's going to be more nefarious and more committed, but no, it looks like Reynor, he will expand. This is going to be a macro opener out of Reynor. Okay, so what is the goal here? The goal is to punish herO for not probe scouting. There is 0 probe scouts, so herO, he sees nothing. It's so greedy here. It is standard to probe scout, and herO, he sees nothing, he knows nothing, and the Lings are coming. Because of this, herO has no Zealot. If he were to scout this, he would wall off here with his probe, he would delay his expansion, a Zell would be on the way, and then he'd be able to defend. But as it stands, herO sees nothing, he doesn't know how much danger he's in, and this pylon may just go down. If the pylon dies, that's game. So here we go. Lings are rallying in. And Reynor collapsing on that pylon. Will be brought down. herO has to pull the boys if he wants to save it. There we go. The boys are being pulled, but it's too late. It's too little too late. The pylon will die. herO supply blocked. And there's nothing. there's nothing here. There's only probes. Only probes, man. Now, Reynor, he does respect them. Does want to make sure it doesn't get surrounded. Once again, going for the Cyber Core. Collapsing with the workers. Nice probe drilling here from herO. Very nice. And with that, herO will defend. Whew. So here he does defend. He surrounds Reynor. That was miscontrol out of Reynor. Reynor, he should not have fought head on. He had to avoid the probes. Probes are terrifying. And the game will continue. Whew, okay. The game will continue here. Again, Reynor had potential to keep this going, but got surrounded. And from here we drone and we saturate. Now, herO is still in a really rough position because no base. No base, no expansion. Like, it was still a really shaky start for herO, and Reynor is still in a better position. But herO has a chance. herO, he does have a chance. I mean, it's still rough. Like, right now the soup lies. The soup does lie. You might be looking at this and be thinking, oh, Reynor, he's only up one drone. That is not really true, because herO is making one probe at a time, and herO doesn't have a natural. So Reynor has more efficient mining, and of course he has better production to be able to skyrocket ahead and drone up even harder. You can see Reynor is checking for the gold. Smart. Does check for the gold base. Wants to make sure there's no ninja expansion out of herO. Ooh, that gets surrounded. Is surrounded. And there's a lot riding on these oracles. I don't know if I'd say uncharacteristic, to be honest. herO runs very messy games, but just makes them work. If you're referring to the game where herO went for on Winter Madness, I would disagree. herO does have chaotic games, but his builds typically always make sense, as his builds are typically very crisp. The game where he went Glaive Adept was uncharacteristically late. Referring to his Twilight counts or referring to Glaives. Here he does dive into the main. He dives in, catching a queen. Nice pick up. Does get a queen. Will take a lot of hits, but should get away. Oh, and we're going double Stargate. I mean, in this kind of game state, herO has to do something drastic. He has to do something crazy just because he's behind. So herO is going for the second Stargate, and we're going into Mass Oracle, we're going to Phoenixes, Void Rays. What's the plan? No Fleet Beacon. Oh, did lose one? Okay, thankfully did not. So for the time being, he's making more Oracles. Ooh, gotta be stoned away. Once again, taking a lot of hull damage. And now we're making more. Technically, there is a lot of potential with Mass Oracle. Yep, we're just going Mass Oracle. So Mass Oracle here at a herO. He needs to bank them up. He needs to hide them. He reveals 3, which is normal. Oh, here a supply block. No, yeah, brutal supply block. Ay, ay, ay. And this is where I would say messy. Like, again, herO, he's usually a little bit cleaner with this, but it is a really chaotic game state. So brutal supply block delays his oracles. Like, we need the oracles as quickly as possible. And I was gonna say, if he's lacking anti-air, then the goal should be to overwhelm the queens and then just wreak havoc in the mineral lines. Unfortunately, Hydra Den. Like, Reynor is going into Hydras, and now herO's on a timer. Now herO's on a timer. If he's too late, if there are too many Hydras, then herO will just die. So here we go. We got 6. Soon to be 8. He gets spotted. Oh, never mind. Reynor, I believe he is not aware. Otherwise, we'd be seeing more spores. It's important. It's crucial that herO has control of the Zelnaga tower. And now he dives in. Goes to the dive. He wants the queens. Pulsar Beam is activated. Going into the main base. Hydra production has begun. Gets 1 queen. Gets 1. Takes down the spore. We'll lose an oracle. Down to 5. 5 oracles left. And Hydras will pop out. Yeah, snipes 2 more oracles. Down to 3. Oh no. Yeah, 3 oracles remaining. Down to 2. And Reynor holds. Reynor, he holds on. Again, it is unfortunate that Reynor was going into Hydras as he was. Here, I'm sure he was hoping there was going to be roaches again. Or a later den. Behind this herO going into Tempest production, he gets scattered by the Overseer. Reynor, he sees, man. He knows. And I think herO should just die here. I don't think herO can survive this. I'll be honest. The Hydras are coming. What is it to defend? There are 4 Oracles. 4 Oracles and 9 Vanilla Adepts. Most of them are across the map. Reynor starts stepping in. Does get a kill. Yeah, kill, not a cancel. Hydras, they chase down the Oracles. Gets 2. And the Adepts will clean this up. Oh, gets another Oracle. There's 1 Oracle left. And on the one hand, yes, herO, he does clean this up, but he lost his 4th. Remember, that was a kill. That was a kill, not a cancel on the 4th base. Really rough loss there for herO. And again, it was just a big gamble, right? It was just a big gamble out of herO going Mass Oracle, and it just did not pay off. Didn't pay off, Bappy. Now, Tempest, they have a little value, of course. They can be very efficient. You can just pick away at the army. They're making their way into the mineral line. Does it commit? Oh, not quite. Doesn't commit in. Corruptor production has begun. Reynor, who was so quick to throw down that Spire to get ready for the Sky Toss. And he is. And here they come. Corruptors have arrived. Adepts take him into the shade. herO, he's just all in. He just has to go for it. But last, plenty of Hydras are reinforcing. And went out to 4, down to 3. GG gets called, and Reynor, he will extend his lead in the series 3-1. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Again, a really rough start for herO, winding it back. And the reason why it was so chaotic and so rough was because of the initial 12 pool. The 12 pool did wreak havoc, did do damage, didn't do game-ending damage, but did give Reynor a very comfortable lead. That's why herO felt pressured to do something crazy. He felt pressured because he was behind to do something unorthodox. So he was going into double Stargate Mass Oracle. He went up to 8. He went up to 8 Oracles. He pushed with 6. And was reinforcing with another 2, but unfortunately he had a really hard time finding damage. If you remember, he dove into the natural first, he activated the beam, didn't find anything, got into the main base, got a Queen, got a Spore, got a couple of drones, but alas, there was already a Hydrogen. And remember, Reynor didn't even scout. Like, he didn't know what was coming his way. That's why there were no extra Spores. That's why he was so initially ill-prepared, but he had the Hydrogen. Once Hydras popped, GG. GG, well played. With that, we're now getting into our next game. Going to be loading into Tourmaline for game number 5. And the pressure is on herO. Again, it's been a very chaotic series so far. Very chaotic. And I feel like the chaos will continue here. 100%. As we're loading into one of the more aggressive maps in the map pool, spawning in the bottom-hand corner of Tourmaline, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss. Oh, Red Protoss himself. Down heavily in the series, 1 more loss, and that will be the end of the finals. Can he bring us back? Can he start the comeback here and now? He needs to. It is for T1, herO. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player, the Italian Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. He actually probe scouts. It makes sense. If you remember, one of the reasons why the 12 pool did so much damage last game, if you remember, herO didn't probe scout. For whatever reason, he chose not to probe scout on Tidal Citadel. He was punished for it. Here, he probe scouts immediately. And he will confirm this a base. It does get eyes on the expansion. He's aware of the standard opener. As herO pokes in. Just being as annoying as possible. Trying to force some inefficient mining. And Reynor just going hatchet gas pool. Again, standard build. He's forced to be in a bit of an awkward position. But welcome to Tourmaline. Tourmaline is one of the more aggressive maps in the map pool. We bring this up all the time, but there is a massive entrance coming into the natural, and likewise a massive entrance into the third as well. Because of this, 3 base all-ins are very popular from the side of Zerg. We see a lot of 3 base all-ins, 3.5 base all-ins, going into Lingbane Hydra, going to German taxis. Aggression is favored here, and it is difficult for Protoss players to defend. You saw in Game 1 on the Old Republic how difficult it is for a Protoss player to hold on to their 4th base. Here, it is difficult to take a 3rd. Very, very difficult to take a 3rd. To maintain the 3rd, I should say. Now, what I will say, this is where Showtime really did inspire. If you watch Showtime versus Reynor, again, Showtime almost beat Reynor, but Showtime was going for a very different style. He was going for a very defensive style. Showtime was going for a heavier gateway count, immortal production as well. Showtime was being very safe, very defensive, and Showtime was successfully holding on to this 3rd as well. Like, he had a really, really impressive series against Reynor, and I would hope that herO was watching, and I would hope that herO was inspired. Now, the flip side of things we could see out of herO is aggression. We could see him be the aggressor instead. Or at least try to be. It is an option. For now, opening up Stargate. I feel like we have seen herO go like DTs on this map before. And try to be cheeky. Glaive Adepts would be an option. Show us what you got. In. Does shade away. No major damage. And behind this so far is getting his 3rd base. What we're really waiting for is the Twilight Council timing. We want to see the timing of the Twilight Council. We want to see what herO goes for. I feel like early blink has to be the play here. Oh! As things didn't quite get this around. They do. They do get this around. Oh! Adept does pull away. More Lings have arrived, and this Adept should go down. So nice pick up here by Reynor. Takes down the Adept, takes down the Probe. Nice little pickoffs. Again, making use of his Lings early on. There it is. Twilight Council is going to be thrown down. This is as the 3rd base is just over halfway done. Curious. And we're waiting for the Forge. Ooh. As Oracles take a lot of hits. Late Forge out of herO. So this could be either early Blink or we could go into Glaives. We're still waiting for the Forge. If it's late Forge, it should be Blink. Gateways are being turned down. These gateways, they feel a little bit late though. Yeah, they are. herO heals banking. What's it gonna be? Blink. Okay, so early blink. This is meant to be a very safe build here by herO, going for early blink. I mean, I say safe. There's no Forge, right? There's no Forge, so this looks like the beginning of an 8 gate, of a 3-base all-in. Again, the build itself does feel a little bit shaky, unfortunately. Like when it comes to the gateways, when it comes to the blink timing. Yep, more gates are on the way, so I believe this is 6 in total, and we should be seeing one more. Getting up to 7 gateways and then a proxy across the map. Basically, the way this build works is that you drone up, you saturate, but you do not take your gases, so no gases at the 3rd base, extra gateways back at home, no Forge. Oh, late Forge. Okay. Late Forge out of herO. Does he send out a probe? Interesting. So, this Forge is insanely late out of herO. This tells us that herO is not going for an all-in, that he plans on macroing from here. It's still very aggressive. He still has a lot of gateways. But Blink is not done, and herO is going to get punished. Okay, nice move. Nice moves. Oracle does save the Oracles do save the Stalkers. herO does survive, hunting down more Overlords. And he's taking gases. Again, he's taking gases because he is getting a Forge. This tells us that most likely we can take up into either Colossus or Storm. So herO can now take up. As he's saturating on 3 bases. Getting into charge. And the answer is no Colossus, Storm. So he's going into Temple Archives, into Storm and Archons. Stalkers poke in. We can see Reynor going for a surround. Setting up for the surround. There's going to be one more stasis trap. The base does fall. And Reynor, he counterattacks instead. Nice stasis. Nice stasis trap, but the wall is wide open. herO! Yeah, the wall is open. Does force a recall. But herO did at least kill the base. So not bad. herO, he killed the expansion. Killed the 4th. Reynor, he's building up, getting into Ling Hydra. Dash around on the Lings. And herO's not in a bad position. He's on 3 bases. He denied the 4th base of Reynor. He's taking up. herO's going for a later 4th base, which again, I feel like makes sense on this map. It's difficult to defend your 3rd and 4th. So herO's playing it safe, even throwing down a wall of cannons. Again, you can just see how defensive he's being. You wouldn't really see this on other maps, but just because of the nature of Tourmaline, makes sense. Oh. As herO's being active with his Gateway army. Storm is finishing up in a couple of seconds. Let's go. herO's got +1. He's throwing down extra gateways. In a head-on fight, I do favor herO's army at the moment. Reynor, he's taking up maybe a little bit too quickly. Reynor's running up to 82. herO's pushing in. He's got Storm, plenty of Storms, and they're going to connect. Yeah, massive Storm of the Hydras. Army's going to be forced back, 0 Storms remaining, but there's no buffer. Yeah, there's no buffer, there's no support. Again, Reynor, he was too greedy. Reynor, he was droning up too much. He was taking up into the infestation pits. The army was lacking, and he was going for the kill. He's going for the kill. And fun fact, after he breaks the 3rd, now herO throws down the 4th. So very late 4th base out of herO. He's doing well for himself. I say that here come the reinforcements. Reynor, he's holding on. He's holding on. He did lose the expansion, lost 10 drones. Here comes the Lurker Den. Reynor needs time. He needs a little bit more time for Lurkers. But he's still up against the wall. It's still close back. Ooh, and here he's going to be taking into Sky Toss. Okay. So herO building up into Sky Toss. Still posturing outside of the 4th base. He does have a couple of High Templar coming in. He's got some Storms. Storms, they Jubilee back the army. And again, there's one Storm left. And so the Storms are zoning. They're just zoning Reynor further back, and here he's breaking through. Once again, it's into the middle line. Yeah, the Archon gets in. More drones are going down. It's still so close with Zealot reinforcements. Here he should break the expansion. And he does. Yeah, the boys are being pulled into the Archons. GG gets called. And before Sky Toss, herO, he does fight back. He does put a point on the board. GG. Whew. GG, well played. And this is very similar to what Showtime was doing. Basically, very heavy 3-base play. herO went for a very late 4th base. Very late 4th base. He stayed on 3 bases, got cannons, shield batteries, built up his gateway composition, built up his Storm. I went for a later Sky Toss, later transition. Very safe. And I mean, I say very safe, very assertive as well. Killing the 4th base initially, slowing down Reynor. GG. GG, well played. I feel like this is the kind of style that you need to play on these smaller maps. I'm thinking of Tourmaline. I'm thinking of Ruby Rock as well. Speaking of, we're going to be loading into our next game. We're going to be loading into Ruby Rock. I would say that this map is not as extreme as Tourmaline, but it's very similar, where it has a very difficult and a very open 3rd and 4th. So I like the idea of seeing something very similar out of herO coming into this game as well. Let's go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ruby Rock, we do have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing T1 down in the series, but he has begun the comeback. Can he force the ace match? It is herO. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Italian Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. And a couple of things happened that last game. One, Reynor didn't 3-base all in. He did not. He was the opposite. He was being greedy. He was being very greedy. As we pointed out, Reynor, he was droning up past 80. He was taking up into the infestation pit. He was late to get a 4th base, but he was just trying to catch up and trying to tech up and trying to drone. And he was caught by herO with a very strong 3-base timing instead. So Reynor caught with his pants down instead of the other way around. So a little bit surprising to see that kind of turn of events on Tourmaline, seeing Reynor be more passive instead. And we'll see if he ramps up that aggression. Speaking on Ruby Rock, we mentioned how it's similar to Tourmaline, very open entrance. Open entrance into the 3rd base. There's no ramp. There is technically some high ground here, but the all-in or the army should be coming from the left-hand side instead. Likewise, a very open northern 3rd base as well. The linear 3rd also is open. And traditionally, we do see a lot of Zerg players go for all-ins, but hey, if Reynor didn't 3-base all-in on Tourmaline, he might not 3-base all-in here either. We'll see. Meanwhile, again, because the 3rd and 4th bases are so much more vulnerable, I do want to see herO once again be very tech heavy and be very 3-base heavy as well, just like last game. I think that is beneficial here on these more aggressive maps. But we'll see. If you're curious, as a reminder, herO, he went up to 6 gateways. He went into 6 gateways on 3 bases. He went for a late forge, late +1. As a result, he was able to kill the 4th. If you remember, he was able to force a cancel on the 4th base. Then went for a later 3-base timing with Storm, much later. But now Stargate. Stargate open out of herO. And eyes are on our Protoss. Reynor just droning, just saturating. Likewise, we'll see if Reynor goes for an Eva Chamber first, Lair first, or Roach Warren. Just waiting for the tech from both sides. Setting up. No, we're still setting up. Oh. Depsay throwing the shade in towards the main. And herO will claim his 3rd. And thankfully herO doesn't commit. He cancels the shade, he's just poking, prodding. If he loses these adepts, then his 3rd base is going to be exposed. But he is keeping Reynor busy. Keeping him pinned. Same time, a handful of Lings do slip out across the map, and there's not much of him to defend. Does get a probe. Does get a probe, but we'll get a pylon. The Oracle does react. Ooh, there's a cancel. But we'll save the base. The Nexus is taking a lot of... There we go. Does take a lot of damage. But herO will save it. Behind this we have our Twilight Council. Lings do get this around. Nice pickoff. herO did stick around a little bit too long. And it is going to be Evo Chamber first out of Reynor. So Evo Chamber into +1. The Oracle barely gets away. Stasis goes off, and you said I see no Forge. No Forge. Twilight Council into 2 gateways. This looks like the same build. Same build. Looks like early Blink into a 6-gate setup. As things they rally across. Thankfully, there is an Oracle to defend. Despite that, we're going to surround. And no, this is not going to be Blink. We are going into Glaive Adepts instead. Okay. Now, this is very similar to... God, what was it? Game 2? I believe on Winter Madness. But this is going to be much later. So, delayed Glaive Adepts. This is quite committed, actually, here from herO. I like that he's mixing it up. I do believe that he wants to make it look like it's the same build. He wants to make it look like he's going for a Blink timing. What does that mean? That means no roaches. Yeah, no roaches. It is going to be Ling Bane into Hydra play out of Reynor. But Reynor is at least playing it safe, getting the Bailey Nest. Roaches are a secure way to defend against the Adepts. Bailings are another option. And the Oracles do scout. It does scout the Bailey Nest. But there is no opportunity for these Adepts to pop off. As the Oracles do slip away. Adepts, they should be banking up. Yep, there we go. Banking up in the main. Banking up here behind the mineral line, which means they are not revealed. Barely not. And here comes herO. Yeah, here he's rallying across the map. He's moving out with what's soon to be 17. Yeah, 17. 17 Adepts are moving out across the map. The 3 Oracles as well. And we need as many Banelings as possible. We have 4 Banelings morphing in. Now, if these Banelings can connect, then maybe we can defend. But without the herO, herO should overwhelm. Oh no, he commits! No, he commits into the Bailings! And Reynor holds. Yeah, Reynor holds, he shuts us down. Here he shaded into the Bailings. Ay, ay, ay. And that's the moment that Reynor was hoping for. Speaking of, Bailings, they just crash in, they shut down the Adepts, and Reynor, he shuts us down. Clean defense out of Reynor. As you mentioned before, Reynor was heavily reliant on the Bailings connecting, and herO went headfirst. He went headfirst into the Bailings. Ah, no. And herO falls behind. He falls behind. +1 is late. Blink is late, so the tech is delayed. We're stuck with a subpar army. And Reynor's just chilling. Reynor, he's droning up, getting into Ling Bane Hydra. Oh, boy. And remember, there's no Blink. Remember, there is no Blink. The Stalkers, they can't get away. Gets 1, gets 2. Lings, they can just keep trading. Gets 2 Stalkers, getting up to 3. 3 Stalkers go down. Oh. Lings going for the 4th. There we go. 4th Stalker does full as well. More Lings are rallying. Hydras are on the way. Reynor, he's cutting workers. He's joining up to 68. That is 3-base saturation. Nothing at the 4th base. And he's going for the all-in. He's going for a big 3-base all-in. Catching out more Adepts. Blink is still not complete, by the way. Again, it was a big gamble out of here. Big gamble going for the Adepts. And there was an opportunity. There was a chance, but... He face checked with the Adepts into Bailings. Checked with the face. No. And this is going to be a tough hold. Now, defensively, I believe there is an Archon. Yeah, there's 1 Archon. Blink is now done. But the Hydras are coming. They're slowly slithering across the map. Hydra speed is almost complete. Again, Reynor, he has not made a drone in quite some time. The worker saturation here is just from transfers. Just transferring over. As he runs out of patches in the main. Ooh, Oracle is thrown away. Charge only just now began, so we got slow lots to defend. And where are the Bailings? Oh, we're just collapsing. Okay, never mind. We're just collapsing in. Yeah, we're collapsing on top of the Stalkers. Nice movement with the Lings. Comes in for the surround. Some of the Hydras aren't quite adding the DPS, but there we go. Does step in. Does try to. There we go. Star steps forward. Takes down one of the Archons. There's 2 Archons left. Here comes the Force Fields. Ooh. Yeah, nice Force Fields. Slowing down the push. Slowing down the all-in. But last, another Archon falls down to 1. 1 Archon remaining. Here, so we just see herO holding the line. He's holding on. Trying to. Yeah, as again here, he's just taking too many losses here. Probes are going down. The final Archon is going to get sniped. Down to purely Blink Stalkers. Charge just out finishing. And these Lings, they just trade so well against the Stalkers. They trade so efficiently. As we're down to how many? Down to 7 Stalkers. 7 Stalkers left. Down to 5. And Reynor just rallying. He's just rallying across. Looking to end it. Immortal rallies into the Hydras. I mean, impressive defense here by herO, just surviving as long as he has. He's holding on. Now, what's important here is that herO has a 4th base. It's not up and running, but if herO can force Reynor to just back off and give him some breathing room, then herO could try to stabilize with that 4th. But the problem is that that Reynor has not drawn in like 3-4 minutes. Like Reynor, he's not backing off. Reynor, he doubles down, making 15 banelings. I believe a sentry has warped in. Force fields are ready. Reynor, he does bypass the narrow ramp. Headed for the 3rd. No, yeah, banelings they get in. They do get in. They shut down the Zealots. They get into the middle line. Probes are going down. Jesus, crazy connections. And Reynor, he will take it. He will get his revenge. And initially, herO did take Reynor down in Little League Cup, but here in the KungFu Cup monthly finals, Reynor, he does overwhelm. It was a very chaotic, very aggressive series. We never got into the late game. We barely got into the mid game, and GG gets called. Reynor will take the series 4-2, becoming this month's KungFu Cup champion. GG. GG, well played. Reynor, he does claim the series. Again, a very aggressive, very unorthodox series overall. We never really got into a standard kind of late game. We did see some sky tells from time to time, but it was a little bit more unusual. We got there in a different way, referring to 10,000 feet when Reynor kind of misread herO and assumed an all-in was coming, and Reynor was stuck on roaches and herO rushed into carrier production, for example. So herO did excel there. So again, really unorthodox, really back and forth. It was a big gamble. It was a big gamble for herO to go into Glaive at FCO on Ruby Rock. As he mentioned, the build looked like it was going into Blink, and I imagine the thought process there was herO wanted to make it look like the same build. He wanted to make it look like Blink Stalkers to try to catch his opponents with his pants down without any roaches. And it worked. Reynor had no roaches. He had no roaches. But Reynor had a safety Baneling Nest. He had a safety Baneling Nest. Reynor, he saw the move out. He morphed in the Banelings. There weren't even that many. There was, what, 4 to 7? It was like 4 to 7 Banelings in the end. And here he just happened to shade into the Banelings. He shaded into the Banelings. They connected. That was game. That was game then and there. Once those deaths went down, herO, he did survive a little bit longer. He was able to hold on as best he could, but again, like, there was so much working against him here. Reynor had a massive lead, a massive advantage, and herO couldn't quite recover from there. GG. GG, well played. Again, a very aggressive, very chaotic series. Congratulations to Reynor for becoming our champion, for getting his revenge over herO. And once again, the series did not disappoint. A very aggressive, very back and forth series as well. We never really saw any kind of standard play. I say standard play, as I mentioned before, this style of being very tech heavy and being very defensive that we saw last season is non-existent this season. It's non-existent. It's not viable anymore, just because of the change to the Banelings, just because of the maps themselves. I would say the most defensive map is Winter Madness, but even then it's nowhere near as defensive as Tokamak, for example. Tokamak was like the pinnacle of like defensive map, and it allowed for easy sky toss. We don't really have the equivalent here, not in this map pool. So there is no equivalent to Tokamak. And also we saw that herO went for Glaives on Winter Madness as well, which I was not expecting, which was maybe the point, right? herO trying to catch Reynor with his pants down, but yeah, Winter Madness was brutal. GG. GG. And with that, again, congratulations to Reynor. Again, it was a very intense bracket. 5 days, baby. 5 days of StarCraft. Crazy, baby, crazy. Reynor, he does come out as our victor. Shout out to herO for making a series out of it, of course, as well. Did take a couple of maps. I will say that a closer series, and if you missed it, I do highly recommend it. I do recommend checking out, bam, Reynor versus Showtime. like Showtime impressed hard. Like Showtime, he almost won that series. Like it was a really close back and forth. Showtime and Reynor, they went all the way to the ace match in the upper bracket finals. But again, Showtime had a very different approach. Showtime, he had a very defensive approach, very defensive, and he was actually excelling against Reynor at times. So that was a really impressive series there. I do recommend it. If you want some more ZVP action, do check out the VODs over on YouTube. !socials in the chat. Oh. To get a link to our socials, to get a link to our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, all things KranKy Ducklings. Again, we stream on YouTube and we do upload to YouTube on a daily basis. And again, if you missed out on some of the days of KungFu Cup, I do recommend the VODs over on YouTube. Do recommend. GG, well played. Also a shout out to Cure for making it to top 3, of course. Cure, he had a really strong showing with his TVP earlier, was able to take down herO in Classic, but did fall in the rematch. So again, very clutch, very intense, very back and forth. And shout out to SE Boy. SE Boy, they're the organizers of this event. SE Boy, they're a Chinese casting team. They're a big part of the Chinese community, of course. There's a lot coming, and there's a lot on the horizon for SE Boy, especially with the return of the Chinese server with the partnership with NetEase. So again, there's a lot to come in the future. KungFu Cup should be returning next month for the December edition. So there should be one more edition here of KungFu Cup. We'll be there to cast it. We might cast it live or otherwise via replays. It does depend on the schedule, of course. Our schedule has been very busy and we weren't able to cover this live earlier, but we were at least able to cover it via replays. One way or another, we will be covering KungFu Cup. Whether it's live or via replays, yet to be determined. As we don't have dates yet. We don't have dates yet in regards to the events. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for the support. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Hope you enjoyed the StarCraft. When it comes to the rest of our schedule, bam, you can see it before you. There we go. So you can see our weekly schedule here. We just wrapped up with our Tuesday broadcast. We were live last night with KungFu Cup, live this morning with KungFu Cup. Our next broadcast should be tomorrow. You can see here tomorrow, Pegasus Cup is going to be our next broadcast. We have the Wardy TV Monday on Thursday. We have the Pondcast on Thursday as well. We have StarCraft Evolution League on Friday. KSL, SDO, and STC. Plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft on the horizon. This week is a little bit leaner. As you can see, we're still casting every day, but we're casting like once a day. There's like 2 days here where we do have double casts, like Thursday and Saturday, but for the most part, a bit of a leaner week, which I'm more than happy about. Like, it means we get to rest up, and by rest I mean we get to stream, we get to ladder as well, as we have a little bit more time to ourselves as we get into December. Again, December should be a little bit more like this. December should be calming down a little bit. All the offline events were in November. Remember, we had Stellarfest, we had SE for All, we had RSL Season 3. We had a lot of content, a lot of big events happening in November. Coming into December should be slowing down a little bit. If you're curious about the upcoming big events, that's going to be RSL offline events. The offline events for Revival StarCraft League, that's going to be on the 13th and 14th of December. And that's going to be over in Seoul in South Korea. It's going to be in Korea. That's going to be a 2-day event. So again, 13th and 14th of December. It's going to be the offline qualifier on day 1, and then day 2 is going to be the 4-player like playoff bracket. So we might be casting that. I say we might be. If you know anything about us, you know that we have been given permission to co-stream RSL, and we co-stream Season 2 and Season 3. But I don't know if we have permission to co-stream the offline event. So that's a big maybe. I'll reach out about that. If we can co-stream it, then we'll cover it. If not, then we can sleep. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens with RSL, but that's going to be the big event. There's also murmurings of other events happening, so I cannot say anything yet, but I can say that there are other events to be announced for December. I can say that at least, so look forward to it. Do look forward to it, and I'll give you a bit of a teaser. It won't be like standard format. And look forward to it. I look forward. It's not organized by us, but we'll be playing our parts in our own way. So do look forward to it. Again, there's a lot happening in December outside of the regular open weeklies as well. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thank you for the support. Return of the Chinese server. Yes. The Chinese server has been gone for like 3 years. Has it been 3 years? I think negotiations broke down and Chinese servers were removed from Blizzard games in 2021, if I remember correctly. Maybe someone can correct me. But yes, Chinese servers have been going for quite some time. Maybe 2022. Maybe it was a little bit more recent. But yeah, negotiations broke down. Apparently there was some internal issues with Blizzard, and then they kind of dropped the ball from our understanding, from like insider information about that. But recently they did renegotiate, now that Microsoft has kind of taken a stronger role in Blizzard, and a stronger role when it comes to relations as well. They have renegotiated, they're partnered once again with NetEase, so Chinese servers returning. So because of that, there's going to be a big Chinese event happening soon. Like a celebration show match series. I believe Scarlet is going to be involved. I believe Oliveira is going to be involved as well, and many others. This isn't like marking the return of Oliveira to competitive play, but he's been invited to the show match to celebrate, you know, the return of the Chinese server. So it's going to be really cool to see Oliveira again. D4 is getting in there. Yeah, there's a lot happening. It's a lot happening. There's also another rumored StarCraft IP game releasing soon as well. I'm not referring to the game that's being published and developed by Nexon. If you remember, Nexon, they acquired the IP for StarCraft to produce their own game. That is true. But there's another game in the works as well, which was recently announced by Soso. By Soso, this was maybe a week ago. So a lot of really cool things on the horizon. Don't expect it to be another RTS, not at all. Just StarCraft IP being used by Blizzard in another way, which is a good thing. StarCraft getting attention once again. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for the support. We do appreciate it. Thank you so much. With that, we are going to be wrapping up here for the time being. Again, the next broadcast is going to be tomorrow in under 24 hours time. Otherwise, hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time. Un momento as I just set up the time. Where can I read about the Soso announcements? Check out the interview that Zombergub did host. Zombergub, she did host an interview. It was like a 2-hour long interview. Hold on. Soso. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, it's in the chat. This was 9 days ago. There it goes. 9 days ago. Soso. He's a great guy. So I do recommend checking out the interview there. I also do recommend checking out the podcast, which we did discuss all this on, of course. But otherwise, we're going to be heading off for the time being. I'm going to be going live on my personal channel for a short ladder session, cheeky ladder session, before getting some breakfast. I am a little bit hungry, actually. We'll see. I might get something to eat first. But yes, it's going to be live on my personal channel. A short ladder session. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, ciao. Bye, ciao. Hasta luego.